For those guests in attendance who do not know me, my name is Matthew Nespole, and I'm the head of the Key School. And it's my pleasure on behalf of the faculty, staff, administration, and Board of Trustees to welcome all of you to the graduation exercises for the Key School class of 2025. Many graduation exercises that I have personally experienced, not here at Key, at other secondary schools, tend to focus on the collective and not the individual. The group shot photos of graduates show students often in the same color cap and gown, and for the most part, it's an event that seems to forget that the group of graduates is comprised of unique, dynamic individuals with distinct stories about the challenges they faced and the accomplishments they achieved along the path that led them to being up here on stage with Mr. Michaels and me today. Well, at Key, we do and view things differently than other schools, and a Key graduation is a unique experience. Over the course of the morning, and yes, into the afternoon, we will take a few moments. Some of you who've been here before know that's coming. We'll take a few moments to celebrate each remarkable young person who is a member of the class of 2025. The voices of others who know you well, friends, family, and faculty, will celebrate your individuality and your voice. Now, your voice is more than just the sound that comes from your mouth. It's your beliefs, your stories, your values, your talents, your passions, and your truth. The world needs people who are willing to use their voice, to speak with courage, to stand for something, to challenge what's broken, defend what matters, do what you love to do, bring joy into the world, to care about those around you and make them better people. And the beautiful thing is, there's no right way to have a voice. There's only your individual way. So whether your voice is loud or soft, poetic, athletic, artistic, academic, use it. Use it to ask questions. Use it to say no when something isn't right. Use it to say yes to what sets your heart on fire. Use it to lift others when they're struggling to find theirs. Use it to explore fully your interests. Use it to explore life. I want to thank the class of 2025 for all their contributions that you made to our school community. As you venture off on your next adventure, please take with you our thanks for leaving Key a better place than when you entered it. Your voices will be remembered for what they did here, and I know the entire Key community is excited to see how you use them in the years to come. Thank you and congratulations to all of you, the class of 2025. It is now my pleasure to welcome two members of the class of 2025 to say a few remarks, Caroline Brown and Trey Berman.
Good morning, everyone. It is our honor to welcome you all to the graduation ceremony for the class of 2025. My name is Caroline Brown, and I have been a student here at Key for the past 6 years. Throughout those 6 years, I've been able to witness the accomplishments and achievements of my fellow classmates. Each student has overcome their own challenges, developed their own persistence and determination, and strived to find their own solutions. Each student has pursued their passions, left positive impacts across our campus, both inside and outside of the classroom, and brought new ideas and perspectives that help our community continue to grow. Each student sitting here today has a unique journey, individualized by their experiences and knowledge that has prepared them for their next step into continued success. Nosce te ipsum, a Latin aphorism that translates to know thyself. This is the foundation in shaping our class, and it is rooted deep within our achievements and accomplishments. Knowing thyself has allowed this class to form a unique collective that overcomes hardships and continues to advocate for positive change in our community. With this phrase serving as the forefront to our successes, I am confident and eager to hear of the bright possibilities and futures that await us all.
Well, I don't know how I'm going to top that. That was a pretty good speech. Good morning. I'm Ian Berman III, but most of you know me as Trey. I'm proud to stand beside all my classmates as a friend and a fellow classmate, and I'm excited to see where everyone goes in the future. As many of you know, I'm someone who's more than happy to share a naval history fact or two, or five, completely unprompted. And as this is the last time we'll all be together like this, I thought I might leave you all with one for the road. In 1942, during the darkest days of World War II in the Pacific, when the Enterprise was the only ship in between the Japanese fleet and the boys on the beach on Guadalcanal, renowned Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz often wrote long letters to his wife as a way to de-stress from the long days of commanding the Pacific Fleet. These letters often contained small prayers that he would write at the end as a sign-off. While most of these would be lost to time, one would be circulated around the U.S. and became his defining quote. This quote is, "God, grant me the courage not to give up what I think is right, even though I think it is hopeless." While many of us are not Christian, and none of us are in the situation that he was in, I think these words still ring especially true today. As we all spread our wings and fly off to 48 different little pockets of the world, we should all remember to never sacrifice the principles that we hold dear, no matter the situation. Whether your biggest value is honor, loyalty, kindness, justice, or dependability, always make sure to live that ideal to the fullest. I promise you, if you act as a lighthouse of morality, wherever you go, the world around you will slowly but surely turn into a better place. Just as sin begets sin, your moral actions will cause others to rise to new heights as well. No matter the time, location, situation, or people, always remember that positive change comes not with the words, "What can I do?" but with the words, "What will I do?" Congratulations, class of 2025. Fair winds and following seas. Thank you.
Thank you both for your wonderful remarks. It is now my pleasure to introduce someone else whose leadership and commitment help guide the mission and vision of our school community, our Board of Trustees President, John Hilbert. In an independent school, the role of the Board of Trustees is vital to the long-term health and sustainability of the organization. Trustees serve as stewards of our mission, ensuring the school remains financially strong and forward-thinking, not just for today's students, but for generations to come. John not only brings strategic insight and experience to his role, but also a genuine passion for the well-being and success of our students, faculty, and families. Under his guidance, the board continues to champion supportive initiatives that enhance our academic programs, support our talented educators, and ensure access, equity, and excellence across our community. It is my pleasure to welcome John to the podium to share a few words with our community and our graduates. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Matthew. Unlike these great students, I have to use my reading glasses here. Congratulations to all of you. Class of 2025. Standing here today, I am filled with a mix of emotions. I'm going to be teared up here. I stand here proud of all you've accomplished. I stand here a bit sad, as a few of you have gotten to know very well over the years, and you will be missed. But mostly, I stand here in awe of the bright future all of you have ahead of you. Earlier this week, the Key School Board of Trustees gathered for our final board meeting of the year, and we heard from your college advisor, Laura, about you. Laura shared what Key means to you with your own words, and here are a few that I'd like to share with everyone today. First quote, "Key does a great job at encouraging its students to advocate for themselves. In order to thrive at Key, it's important to speak up for yourself and your needs. I believe this will give me be an advocate for myself in college." That's Olivia Garnett. Second quote, "Key School has prepared me well for college with its academic rigor. It constantly pushes students to be better and challenges them to think for themselves while also backing up their beliefs with strong evidence. Socially, Key has prepared me for teaching how to treat others with kindness and respect." Chester Galzinski. A final quote, "The academic curriculum at Key has not only prepared me to take on more advanced courses in college and beyond, but has pushed me to continue thinking critically about the world around me. The courses and faculty at Key allowed me to grow into an academically curious and compassionate student, and have certainly prepared me for college life and beyond." Caroline Brown. Our guiding principle and goal as trustees is to make sure that Key School students are supported and challenged to excel educationally, excel personally, and be confident, courageous, critical thinkers prepared to emerge and engage with the world. The quotes I just read to you are truly affirming to that goal and are the reason that all of us on the Board of Trustees volunteer. So thank you, students. As you leave this place for your new adventures, I also want you to be confident that you leave behind an institution, a key community, and a family that also has a very bright future ahead of it. Next year at the Key School, we'll likely have our largest student body ever in our history. With that demand, we've begun opening up a third section of kindergarten through fourth grade, and in our very first year, every single new seat was taken, and many couldn't get a spot here at Key. Year in and year out, we are ranked #1 by niche, and it's the #1 school in Anne Arundel County. People in the area see that, they hear testimonies from you and your friends, they want to be a part of this amazing place. With this growth, know that your Board of Trustees is busy preparing for a very bright future. This summer, we will be announcing a new capital campaign called Experience Excellence, which will outline exciting plans we have to invest in, refresh, build anew, and reimagine the entire Key School campus across all grades and divisions. So cheers to you on great things ahead for you and for your alma mater. In closing, as president, it is my pleasure to say to you, on behalf of Key School's Board of Trustees, congratulations on your accomplishments as a class, as individuals, and congratulations on your graduation from the Key School. We look forward to seeing where life takes you. Congrats.
Now for the most exciting and wonderful moment of the program will be the conferring of the diplomas. Brian Michaels will come to the podium and we'll begin that effort.
Christina Ajayi.
Good morning, students, faculty, family, and friends. It's an honor to speak today about someone I've had the joy of calling my best friend for 18 years, Christina. We used to wear matching clothes when we were younger, and even now we still coordinate sometimes. We went from matching outfits to matching values, growing together through every challenge and every victory. Christina lives life like a great volleyball captain, because she is one. She doesn't just play to win, she plays to lift others up. She's the one diving for the impossible saves, setting people up to shine, and showing up for every point, even when no one's watching. That's how she's lived in school, in friendship, and in faith. Even off the court, in tennis, she's shown she can stand strong on her own. Tennis is quiet, focused, and personal, and Christina brought the same calm strength to it that she brings to everything. She knows when to lead, when to listen, and when to simply hold her ground. She's intelligent, incredibly hardworking, and one of the kindest souls you'll ever meet. Her faith in God grounds her, her generosity lifts others, and her heart is big enough to carry everyone who needs a place to land. Christina's like a silent storm. You may not always see her coming, but you'll always feel the impact of her presence. And if your world has ever felt heavy, chances are she's already beside you, steady, gentle, and exactly who you needed. Christina doesn't need to raise her voice to make an impact. Her character speaks louder than words ever could. She's left her mark on Key with grace, humility, and heart, and now she's headed to the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, studying biology. I already know she'll be a great dermatologist, and I already know that whenever I have a skin issue, she'll be my first call. Whenever I have a life issue, she'll be my first call, and whenever I need a shoulder to cry on or someone to laugh with, she'll be my first call. Christina, you've served with strength, persevered through every challenge, and led with heart. And now as you step into this next chapter, I hope the world is ready because you're just getting started. Congratulations, Christina.
Olive Elizabeth Anderson.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Leanne Havard, and I've had the good fortune to be Olive's advisor for the last 4 years. Several years ago, I was outside my house when I noticed a person running by. As far as runners go, I live on a very well-traveled street, so I don't typically pay them much attention. But this runner was different. There was a strength, determination, focus, and fire in the runner that struck me. With their head held high and with the grace of a gazelle, they made quick feet as they effortlessly disappeared from view. Knowing what I know now, I shouldn't have been surprised when I learned that runner was Olive. I am not a runner myself, but as I understand it, having a runner's mindset means developing resilience, grit, concentration, and tenacity, all of which enhance the runner's ability to push forward no matter the obstacle. While my first impressions of Olive were based on her as a runner, it did not take long to realize all of those same traits are also deeply evident in who she is and how she navigates her life. Olive is one of the most quietly tenacious students I've ever worked with. She shows up again and again with poise, humility, and fortitude, ready to face whatever comes her way. Intensely independent and self-reliant. She's a force to be reckoned with. And truth be told, she's also a little stubborn. Or a lot, yeah. But not just for the sake of being stubborn. Instead, I believe it's a reflection of her commitment to staying true to herself, her goals, and her values. Olive is an exceptionally bright, driven, and dedicated student. She is thoughtful and insightful and always holds herself to the highest possible standard with integrity. It's just who she is. She is loyal beyond measure, consistently putting the needs of her friends before her own, whether it's a classmate she's known since her first days on the Mance field or someone she met later at Key. Fueled by her deep internal fire, Olive always pushed herself to be the best runner she could be during her time on Key's cross-country team. And yes, the awards and accolades were definitely there, but what's far more important and impressive is who she was as a leader on that team. She mentored younger, less experienced teammates, always sensitive to their individual needs, while encouraging and supporting them even when her own health kept her off the course. In a sport so focused on an individual's success, Olive is well known as the ultimate teammate for her unwavering commitment to the team's success. I was talking to a friend recently about one of her students, and she said, "Her journey hasn't been easy, but it's been extraordinary." And I immediately thought of Olive. She has faced challenges and hardships no one her age should have to, and many people her age would have crumbled, but not Olive. She is uniquely strong. Don't cry, please. She is uniquely strong, always moving forward with composure and resilience, never allowing the hardship to define her. Instead, what defines her is how she navigates those times. She is unshakable, and she is fierce in a way that's rare for someone her age. Olive, my hope for you as you leave Key is that you see in yourself what I've always seen in you: your fire, your strength, your courage, your tenacity, for I believe they are your superpowers. They will fuel every race you run in your life, whether literal or the invisible ones others may never see. No matter where your journey takes you, I know you will keep showing up, just like you always have here at Key. I know you will keep chasing every finish line with grit and grace, and you will make it look effortless, just like you always do. Olive, I'm incredibly proud of you as you stand here today, and I know with all my heart your dad would be too if you were here with us. It has truly been a privilege to be your advisor. From the very beginning, I've admired your steady and deeply rooted strength and unwavering courage. I hope you will continue to harness those qualities and boldly pursue your life and your dreams. I do not doubt that the fire within you will carry you far in life. You are amazing, Olive. Don't ever forget that.
Ethan J. Booker.
My speech obviously isn't as long as all of those, or the two previous ones, but I'm gonna try my best. Ethan Booker was my first friend at the Key School, and honestly, I'm still trying to figure out whether that was a blessing or a lifelong endurance challenge. Whether I was having a rough day, stressing over homework, or just needed someone to talk, needed to talk to somebody about life being ridiculous, Ethan was always there, usually with with some sarcastic comment followed by a surprisingly good advice. He is the kind of person who will interrupt you mid-rant just to correct your grammar. Then sit back and genuinely listen to every word you have to say. Sure, he's stubborn. So stubborn, in fact, I'm convinced he could win an argument against the mayor. But that same quality makes him extremely loyal. Once you're his friend, you're stuck with him. No offense. No offense. But jokes aside, I mean that in the best way possible. He's been almost like a therapist with better jokes. No matter what I was dealing with, talking to girls, parents being annoying, I always knew I could go to him. And he'd be there all the time to help me work through things. And other times, just to remind me not to take everything so seriously. Through the ups and downs, Ethan's always had my back, and honestly, I don't know what I would have done at Key without him. Without him, I'm not the outgoing person you see every day cracking a joke all the time. I will always be forever grateful that he decided to talk to me on the bus one day in 5th grade. I know you'll do great things at college and beyond. I love you, bro.
Caroline Elizabeth Brown.
Good morning. Carolinae, mei dulcissimae. I'm the Latin teacher. And this is my first graduation speech. 4 years ago, I graduated from the Graduate Institute at St. John's College, having just finished studying Dante's Divine Comedy. My tutors at St. John's taught me to think of books as both friends and teachers. So after reading Dante, I knew I wanted to devote myself to studying Virgil, to let him be my guide through middle age. So step one was to focus completely on the Latin language and reading as much Virgil as I could. So I quit my job and began applying for Latin teaching positions. And as the gods would have it, a Latin job opened up at Key School. And by Jove, I was there a week later, teaching Latin 1, A block, at 8:40 a.m. in Mary's classroom. I still remember that day very distinctly. Just as I took attendance, Caroline's water bottle toppled off the desks and absolutely drenched the center carpet. And I just remember so vividly your wide eyes staring at me in this frozen freshman shock. And since it was my first day at work, I think I probably mirrored that expression exactly. And that was it. I knew we were in it together here. It's tempting in a moment like this to say, words cannot express how I feel. But for 4 years, we've studied words together, Latin and English. And you've also studied French and Arabic. And don't even forget the way you've learned to train and command your horse, which is a whole fascinating language unto itself. With all these wild and whirling words, as Shakespeare calls them, I won't say that words fail me. Instead, I hope we've imparted to you here a taste for the feast of language. Our task as linguists is to study and savor, to pluck each word, carpe verbum, and arrange them for just the right expression. So let me try to say this clearly. Your presence in this school has been an absolute gift. You have made this place better. You are a model of diligence, poise, and grace. Sorry, I knew I would get like this. I know it can be hard to find belonging in such a small place, especially when you are exceptional. But you created community in your classes, your activities, and your teams. I've watched you grow in 4 years into a thoughtful and generous leader. Whenever the school needed a student voice, we called on you. I want to say also that I can't believe you're graduating, but I absolutely can believe it because you've completely earned it. So commencement, what we're doing here, comes from the French commencer, which comes from the Latin, cum plus initium. It means this is your beginning. This is your initium, your initiation into something new. It is very hard to say goodbye when there's so much more that I really would have loved to study with you. But just like Dante's Virgil, I can't continue as your guide past this gate. And so, like Virgil, I now trust that you journey forward, strengthened by your intellect and upheld by grace. And so as Dante wrote upon emerging from the dark, Arrivedere le stelle, go forth and follow the stars, Caroline.
Ian Dale Berman.
Hi, my name is Casey Berman, and I'm here to talk to you about my brother, Trey. Now, this is kind of funny. I didn't know he was going to start his speech with a World War II fact, so I was going to start his with one too, because he's really into that stuff. So, did you know that the Liberty ship, the John Brown, is 441 feet long, and it can carry 9,000 tons of cargo? I didn't know any of that. It came from Google. But one of the things that impresses me the most about my brother is that he could recite all of that and more all off the top of his head. Just the other week, I watched him give an hour-and-a-half long talk about Liberty ships with 0 notes or script, and he did an incredible job. Some of you probably still don't even know what a Liberty ship is, and that's okay. Not many do. He's always had pretty specific interests like that, and it's been amazing to watch him turn these interests into a career, getting accepted into Navy through the Naval Academy Foundation program. He has never just been along for the ride in anything he does, leading the activities he joins and changing them for the better. Whether it's joining Model UN and eventually becoming president, or attending the Sea Cadets until he's second in command, he goes all in with everything he does. He still always found time to hang out with me, no matter how busy he got, watching TV with me even though it meant working late after I went to bed, and giving me rides even with a busy schedule. He carries that compassion into the work he does with veterans, talking to them and showing them care. Trey, I am so excited to see where you end up, and just know that someday a kid a lot like you is going to be telling his little sister about the great naval leaders of his generation, and your name is going to be the one they mention.
Mason August Cook.
Morning, guys. My name is Mitch Powell, and I'm the head coach and high school sailing program director for the Key School sailing team at the Annapolis Yacht Club. I first met Mason Cook in 2021 when I was coaching his summer race team here in Annapolis. He was young, confident, and eager to compete against the best. From the very beginning, Mason stood out. His work ethic and dedication to his craft were truly exceptional. Over the seasons, I had the privilege of watching Mason grow, not just as a sailor, but as a person and a leader. He approached the sport with an analytical mindset. Mason didn't want to just know what to do. He wanted to understand why. He sought out knowledge from his coaches, teammates, competitors, and experienced sailors around the community. He embraced competition and is always willing to share what he learned with those around him. During the past 3 seasons, Mason and his teammates on the Key School sailing team consistently performed at a high level. They finished top 3 of the Medici League standings each season, qualified for all the district events in both fleet racing and team racing, won the Medissa Keelboat Championship, and competed for a national championship for the High School Keelboat Nationals in St. Petersburg, Florida. They came together as a team, set goals, and worked tirelessly to achieve them. There's a quote from Nick Saban, legendary college football coach, about the process. And the process is about the things that you have to do to accomplish your goals. If you don't have any goals or aspirations or sense of purpose, it's hard to define how you want to get there. Sailing, like life, is all about navigating complexity. It demands a deep understanding of physics, weather patterns, current, rules, along with the ability to anticipate, adapt, and act quickly, with the end goal of being just a little bit faster than the boats around you. These lessons translate beyond sailing. So to Mason, control what you can control. Be proactive. Position yourself for success. And when things aren't going as planned, don't panic. Adjust, refocus, get back in the race. To Mason, the Key School sailing team, and the entire class of 2025, whatever your goals may be, whether it's sports, academics, relationships, or life, take the time to define it, lay out the steps you need to get there, and most importantly, trust the process. You're going to do great.
Jonas Matthew Craig.
Jonas is very, very tall. In fact, he is the tallest in the grade. There's an expectation that tall people are courageous, fearless, and confident. Jonas fulfills that expectation. Let me tell you a story about Jonas. In the summer of 2022, I persuaded Jonas to join me for a 4-week session at the summer camp I'd been attending for years, Camp Seagull. Jonas originally took interest in the camp's sailing and powerboating programs. 3 weeks into the session, he had completed his small boat sailing certification and U.S. powerboating certification with only minimal knowledge of boating coming into camp. Yet meanwhile, he was also training early in the morning, each morning with the aquatic staff, to swim across the Neuse River, a river 3 miles wide, polluted with fertilizer, and rife with stinging jellyfish. Around 7:30 of the morning of the swim, I walked to the beach where he would emerge from the water. A crowd had formed, and we observed Jonas swimming the last few yards towards us. He jogged out of the water, and as he got closer, we soon saw the glaring red streaks along his back from the jellyfish. It appeared as if he had just emerged from the waters of Chernobyl. Jonas, however, wasn't fazed. Later that morning, after he had taken a brief nap in the cabin, he said to me, "Okay, I'm going to sailing practice now." And he wasn't joking. This story illustrates Jonas's willingness to take advantage of opportunities, courage to undertake challenges, and confidence to succeed. I have the utmost respect for Jonas's confidence and bravery. He has not only been a best friend of mine, and the tallest, but also a mentor who has encouraged me through countless moments to stay strong and take on challenges. Thank you, Jonas, for being my friend, a role model, and a brother to me these past 13 years. And I know you will embrace the challenges in the daring field of mechanical engineering. And I'm confident that you will find success and happiness with your dauntless spirit to guide you.
Jeremy Augustine Cronenberg.
Sorry, I'm back. Magistra Augustino suo, salutem. There will be more Latin. Jeremy, I'm so thankful that you gave me a heads up that I'd be speaking on your behalf. Since then, I've been reflecting on what I might say to you. And unexpectedly, I found the answer while translating a letter by Seneca. For context, Seneca the Younger was a Stoic philosopher in ancient Rome. And among his most remarkable works are 124 letters written to his student, Lucilius. I'll just read a very short excerpt. He begins one of these letters, Cum te tamual de rogo ut studeas, meum negotium ago, habere te amicum volo, quod contingere mihi, nisi pergis ut coepsisti excolere te non potest. So that means, when I urge you so strongly to commit to your studies, it's in my own interest that I'm thinking. I want your friendship, and it cannot fall to my lot unless you keep studying and continue as you have begun to develop yourself. After translating this, I was so struck by how closely Seneca's sentiment mirrored my own for you. Across nearly 2,000 years. Like Seneca, I'll admit that my motive in teaching is not entirely selfless. I like to think that the work I'm doing here is helping to form the kind of students who I would want to teach if I were in a college classroom. But more than that, the kind of people I'd be honored to call my friends. Augustine, you are certainly of that sort. One of the greatest joys of my work at Key School has been not only teaching you, but truly collaborating with you. Together, we have built a thriving chapter of the Junior Classical League at Key. Next year, our school will actually serve as the headquarters for the entire state. We revived the National Latin exam here, and your excellent performance at the advanced level has earned you the ability for a scholarship to study Latin in college. Because of students like you, we've grown our program from 2 levels of Latin to offering the AP again next year. Your partnership has made that possible. And like Seneca, I don't want to linger on goodbyes. Instead, in this letter, he writes to his student, Festina ergo. Hurry up, hasten, therefore. He urges Lucilius to press on in his studies because it's through that effort that virtue is cultivated. Hurry up, go, get out of here. Go learn, but not just for yourself, it's for us. As Seneca says, his students' learning brings strength to his aging teacher. Your scholarship and energy have strengthened me. You've raised the caliber of this school through all that you've given to it. Your artwork, your theater performances brought us joy and inspiration over and over again. Your civ essays, your presentations, the projects, they've all delighted us. You've set an example for your peers, and you've left an actual lasting mark, not just on the school walls for your class's mural, but on our hearts. The more you gave yourself to this community, the more we blossomed in return. So I urge you to hurry. Take all of this confidence, this empathy, and this wisdom that you've cultivated here, and please go bless your next community. Wale.
Aiden Thomas Cunningham Bennett. Good morning. My introduction to Aiden came from a phone call from Rosie, Kelly's aunt and birth coach. Kelly's in labor, she said. Brad, your wife is so strong and amazing, and you're about to be a dad. I immediately hopped on an airplane for Kuwait to come see you, and by the time I landed, I was in fact a dad, overwhelmed to hear your mom and you for the first time, half a world away. Knowing Aiden, you may be surprised at this dramatic entrance into the world, but Aiden grew up loving to dance, play every sport, baseball, basketball, soccer, swimming, and daredevil bike riding. He was a lead general of a mob of youth known as the Kid Army. He did this while maintaining full-time responsibilities to mentor and guide 3 siblings with a particular interest in all things baby, who we and many of you may affectionately call Kira. All the time he was moving, we were moving as a family as well. By my count, Aiden went to 8 schools since kindergarten, a pace that has accelerated during high school. He's made and had to leave many friends along the way. But each step of the way, he accepted the challenge, rarely complaining, and sometimes excited about the next adventure. In Italy, for instance, we were the only Americans in our small town on the foothills of Mount Etna. But by the end of our 3-year stay, Aiden was going to Italian water parks with our Polish and Italian neighbors. The language barrier could not get in the way of fun. Like a young Marvel character just beginning to learn his or her power, Aiden is relatively clueless of his resilience. And his resilience is not just thrust upon him, but he actively cultivates it. By high school, he left other sports behind so he could focus full-time on swimming and join the most intense swim club in Columbus. For those of you who don't competitively swim, that means staring at the bottom of the pool for hours a day, swimming further than I could run. The first month of practice was grueling for him, but he met the mark and kept up his pace for years, continually swimming faster and faster. When it became time to pick a senior project, he didn't want to just hike, but to summit one of the 14,000-foot mountains in Colorado. Unbeknownst to him, it still snows up there in May and June. Yet Aiden and Kelly kept up the pace, trudging through multiple feet of snow to reach the summit. Resilience and persistence have taken you far, but it is not the end goal. We hope Miami will continue where Key left off and encourage you to ask the big questions, to develop deep and meaningful friendships, and allow those experiences to steer your life into adulthood. We are proud that you plan on serving in the Navy, but no matter what direction you head, there are always plenty of ways to give back. I have told you the story of my flight out of Iraq many times, but I never mentioned my anxiety getting on that flight, the future a blank slate for our family. Once airborne, I prayed deeply that this was all going to work out, and it has. At that moment, an incredible amount of calmness washed over me. And although I have not always remained calm or patient with you, I have that same feeling of calmness now. We are so proud of you, of who you are and who you will be. Your mom, Kira, Liam, Eileen, family, friends, and I love you so much. Congratulations.
Quinlan Ryan Curry.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, I want a better good morning than that. How's everybody feeling? It's a day of a lot of emotions, and before I start talking, giving my real speech, this is a day that we all have been waiting for 4 years, and you as parents for 18 years. It's full of a lot of emotions, and our favorite word in college advising over the last 4 years, I think all the parents would know this word, and I hope that my seniors do. Oh, my graduates do. That word is nerve-sighted. So it's a day when you can be nervous and excited all at the same time. And this morning when I was giving everybody hugs as they were walking in, I said, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And that word of nervous and excited was exactly what everybody said. And I feel the same way. So now, hi neighbor. I'm gonna have everybody sing along in their heads because I can't sing. I think we all know this song from PBS's Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So sing it along in your head. If you wanna sing out loud, you can, but I'm not. I'm just going to read. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? I've always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So I am your neighbor and your college advisor. I can't say that about any of your classmates. They're probably really grateful for that. But as your neighbor and your college advisor, we have lived across the street from each other for about 5 years, and we actually moved in exactly the same week. So I'm gonna share with you some of our little reminders across the yard, some of our chores of mowing and dog walking. So you mow the lawn at home, and I mow the lawn at my house, and sometimes we're even mowing at the exact same time. You wear giant headphones, and I wear my little tiny AirPods, and you listen to death metal, which I had to look up on Spotify, and now it keeps coming up on my playlists. And you're not gonna be surprised, but I listen to podcasts about college admission trends. We also walk our dogs, Rolo and Birch, often at the same time. I'm always waving at you frantically across the street, even though I just saw you at school. These are the simple things that I'm going to miss when you're just over the bridge, but not too far, I can come see you, at Washington College. And mentioning college, it's been quite a journey to watch you learn, act, grow, as I do look up to you, and become who you are. As your college advisor and your neighbor, your story is unfolding, and I'm witnessing it as you shared it with your colleges. While many chapters of your story are complete, there are countless more to be written. One of the elements of finding your college was to complete an interest assessment. Everybody remembers those. Your report said you are the individualist. You walk to the beat of your own drum, and you find unique ways of expressing yourself. You are curious, creative, think abstractly, non-conforming, and at times dramatic. You have a talent for seeing things in unique and thought-provoking ways. Neighbor, does any of that resonate? You came to Key in 5th grade, and this was your 5th school. You moved frequently because of your dad's service in the military. Your parents wanted you to settle into our community, and you did just that and more. One of your best friends, Allie, started at the same time, and immediately kindred spirits. Key quickly became home, and you are the quintessential Key student. These are a few things I dug up as I reviewed your college application and how you shared chapters of your story. In 9th grade, you completed a project about a future career, where you said, I would like to have my MA and my PhD in archaeology. So Dr. Curry, you also said you will conduct and lead archaeological digs all around the planet. That chapter of your story is already being drafted. You just completed your 2-week senior project at the Hammond House here in Annapolis, categorizing artifacts from 200 years ago. In your presentation this week, you said you will be back to the Hammond House, reiterating your love for history, unearthed items from digs, and even chatting with the old women who work there. Our admission counselor for Washington College called me after visiting Key and said it was the absolute best meeting that they'd ever had with a prospective student ever. And for reference, Carly has visited over 100 schools. You were curious, conversant, and connected in every way in that conversation. Miss DW shared that you have engaging conversations about philosophical topics and a unique way of looking at the world and humanity. Nolson said you display effortless creativity on stage. You've been in 6 productions in the past 4 years, and your sketchbook, which I've also seen, is chock full of your many character creations. Your wheels are always turning. You described yourself from your college essay brainstorming exercise as a storyteller, a friend to many, a yapper, I'm that too, An avid reader, you finished an entire book in like the heat of Y Island back in the fall. An okay cook, even though you said you're working on your cup of noodles for college. An artist, and your own person. And going back to the 4 Ps of finding your college, you found your place, your people, your program, and your purpose. You did the same when you came to Key in 5th grade. You plan to study, get ready for this list, anthropology, archaeology, creative writing, some theater, some art, and probably designing some of your own classes. Oh, and study abroad. So you are a dream student for a liberal arts college. I look forward to seeing how your next chapter unfolds in your story, Dr. Curry.
Christian Dent.
Okay, so now bear with me because I have not practiced yet without crying. Now, ladies, gentlemen, and families of the Key School, I'm so incredibly honored to speak for my friend Christian Dent. I'm Jeffrey Mullen. As some of you know, I'm the person who's always stuck to his hip. Now, if you told me when I first met you in 8th grade that I'd be giving your graduation speech, I'd laugh square at your face because, funny enough, we actually had some beef before we were friends. You were a Heat fan, and I was a Celtics fan, and they played each other in the playoffs, so there would always be some sort of exchange every time we'd play each other. It all changed once high school started. Between being teammates in soccer and basketball and seeing you more often during the school day, it was hard not to be friends with you. You're funny, caring, and probably the most emotionally intelligent person I know, and you've proven that consistently. When I have a bad day or a bad week, I know that when we go to Cane's on Friday night, everything will always be better. Now, there are certain people in life where you can do anything with and it'll be enjoyable. We don't have to do anything special or specifically fun. I always have such a genuine joy in my heart when you're around. You have such a positive energy that is contagious. This is evident when you walk around campus and a bunch of younger kids are drawn to you because you were their camp counselor at one point and they always just parade around you. You have an incredible ability to leave a mark on the people that you meet. I actually, in full confidence can say that I've never met a person and had a friend who has left such an impact on everybody that he meets, and I know that he's had such an impact on me. I'm an incredibly nervous and scared person, and I'm telling you, the moment I became friends with Christian, I feel like he's given me the ability to branch out more, and I feel like a better person because he's kind of helped me mold me into a more confident and better person. I'm telling you, looking back, our friendship is still very recent, as we didn't really become very close until sophomore year. But looking back, you already feel like a brother to me. I already made a lifetime of memories with you. I feel that I can talk to you about anything, and you're wise beyond your years, and you always give such incredible advice. It's hard for me to fully convey with words how much you really mean to me, and when writing this speech, all I felt was such a genuine joy in my heart and mind thinking about our friendship. You have this ability to put your head down and work, and when you turn it on, there's no obstacle you can't defeat. I feel like you're a very versatile and resilient person, and that will guide you through everything you want to do in life. You're incredibly kind, smart, wise, and patient, and I've definitely tested that patience before. And I know that your traits will make you successful in anything you'd like to achieve. I'd like to say that I'm gonna miss going out on the weekend playing basketball, hanging out, but I don't really need to because the thing is, I know that later in life and throughout our entire life, I know that we're always gonna know each other, and I know that this isn't the end of anything, but I'm still gonna miss having you around at least more consistently. I truly do love you, man, from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for everything. And your parents are very proud of you and they love you. And that's it.
Brendan Michael Frank.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aiden Frank, proud little brother of Brendan Frank. I want to first congratulate the class of 2025. I still remember the days where we always said, 2025 is so far away. Here we are. Brendan Frank is a young man now who I genuinely admire. I am always dumbfounded by how you network your way through all the different sporting events and football games, never forgetting us to follow you and travel with you everywhere you go. I always admire how you always try your hardest at everything. I mean, you will do everything in your power to get the job done. I want to share a little story from your childhood that I think really does show your work ethic. It is the summer vacation in 2019, and Brendan, our dad, a family friend, and I were all kayaking out to a cliff jumping spot. We hang around for about an hour or so, and we start heading back to shore. However, on the way back, the currents were a little stronger than how we left. Waves started splashing up against our three-man kayak, and eventually we noticed that we were taking on water. However, he always never forgot the determination. I will never forget the determination my brother had at the front of that kayak to get us to a small little island in the middle of the channel. He paddled as hard as he could, and at the end, the kayak sank at the very bottom as soon as we hit the shore rock. We were able to fully empty out the kayak and return to shore. If there is a main goal for Brendan, he is going to put the maximum effort to get the project across the finish line. It is so strange now to think that in a couple months, I won't have that person to live with anymore. I'm going to miss having my best friend at home, always willing to talk. I'm going to miss the days of baseball in the street or football in the yard. But I do know that you are going to thoroughly grow to love the cold weather of Syracuse, New York, and love your new home of Syracuse University. Always remember, I'm only one call or text away, and as always, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. I'm going to miss you, man.
Jasper Francis Galzinski.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jake Rainey. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for gathering here today to honor our 2025 graduates. I've had the pleasure of working very closely with this class in many different settings, and am continuously captivated by their preparedness for the real world. Graduates, it's been a pleasure to not only get to know you, but to be a part of your journey as well. You are also capable, considerate, and flat out grown. Today, however, I'm honored to speak on behalf of one individual in particular from this well-rounded class, a skater boy, wise beyond his years. This student is Jasper Galzinski. To be honest, I'm not going to mention anything about his academic prowess. I mean, sure, he's a dedicated student and works hard to excel, blah, blah, blah. But when you talk about Jasper, you talk about who he is to his family, his friends, his community, and ultimately the world. Jasper chooses to live his life to the fullest, whether it be backpacking dozens of miles at the age of 8 or helping his girlfriend put on her shoes at prom. You could say that Jasper has always been rather adventurous. He also takes matters into his own hands. As a kid, Jasper spent hours chopping down all the invasive bamboo in his backyard because he was stealing the sunlight from the other plants. Absolutely adorable and tenacious. So as I think about my time with him as his teacher, coach, and mentor, there's one quote that I just quite can't shake. This quote embodies Jasper to the fullest. It's from a Robert Frost poem that reads, "Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." No truer words have been spoken for the way Jasper lives his life. For example, he chose to be an Orioles fan despite growing up in a Red Sox household. He chose to be a sideways turning knuckle dragger despite being raised in a family of skiers. And he opted to skateboard and compete against himself instead of dedicating all of his free time to team sports. More recently, in my leadership class, I asked students to lead the whole class in an hour-long workshop of their choosing. Everyone chooses something that they're comfortable teaching to others, often relating to one of their passions. This is what most other students did. But you guessed it, not Jasper. He signed up for the first slot and led us in a series of creative writing workshops that incorporated self-reflections and childlike humor. This was something that he had zero experience with, and of course, he absolutely crushed it. So that ambition, combined with a desire to deviate from the norm, would normally be called self-centered or rebellious. But we're forgetting Jasper's most important quality, grace. He is kind, intentional, and leads with the heart. He often chooses an alternate path, not for show, but because it leads to learning, growth, and adventure, which allows him to share that perspective with others. Jasper, you're not just a kid anymore, hacking down bamboo. You're a man, and an enlightened one at that. And aside from wanting to play in our soccer championship on a broken foot, you are wise. Your self-awareness, your calming spirit, and your connection, your curiosity for connection, have set you on a remarkable path. Next year, you'll be in your happy place up at University of Vermont. No set path or person telling you what to do or what class to take. And you can let your free spirit guide you to the right community, one that cherishes your compassion and patience with others. You are a true leader and a light in this world. I'd follow you anywhere, my friend.
Olivia Elise Garnett.
I'm up here now. I see how it feels. Good afternoon, everyone. Olivia, I'm honored to call you my daughter. I love the human that you have chosen to be. You're brilliant. You're creative, you're strong, you're compassionate, you're diligent, you're resilient. You're beautiful, inside and out. You're everything I'd hoped to be from the very first moment we met. I've told you this story many times, but on the night you were born, as an aside, was 30 minutes before my birth date, so I knew from the beginning she was going to be her own person, and she has not disappointed me since then. You turned and you looked at me. We locked eyes. I fell in absolute love with you. And my love and admiration for you have only grown deeper as time goes by. It was also when you were a baby that I became determined to bring you up independent and strong. I wanted you to take on the world and never hide from it. The way you embody that spirit has been nothing short of amazing. Now, as you begin to venture out into the world on your own, one key piece of advice comes to mind about the power of resilience. I recently heard Richard Fairbank, who is the co-founder and CEO of Capital One, say, if you can't predict what's going to happen in the future, then be sure you have a big buffer of resilience. The world has seen how Fairbank has used that advice to grow Capital One into a multi-billion-dollar company and one of the top 10 largest banks in the nation, which I'm sure came with numerous challenges that the company had to rely on a big buffer of resilience to overcome. My dear, you also have a big buffer of resilience. You can look back over your life and see numerous examples that prove that. Always remember that. It's true that you can't predict exactly how everything will play out in the future, but you are connected to a source that already has everything worked out in your favor. So stay close to him, and you'll always have the resilience you need to move forward with grace, peace and strength. I am a singer. That was my first passion in life. Come from a family of musicians, and I want to share with you a small piece of a song that fits with this concept. And it's called I Know Who Holds Tomorrow by Ira Stamfel. I don't know about tomorrow. I just live from day to day. And I don't borrow from its sunshine, for its skies may turn to gray. I don't worry o'er the future, for I know what Jesus said. And today I'll walk beside him, for he knows what lies ahead. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. Congratulations, Olivia and the entire class.
Lucy Rose Glassman.
Like Jeffrey, I haven't been able to read through this without crying myself, so I'm going to try my best. Hi everyone, my name is Ellie Navarro Monzo, and I'm fortunate every day to call Lucy my best friend in the whole world. And with that, I have written her a letter. Dear Lou, I'm a firm believer that the greatest gift we have in life is each other. So I say with confidence that one of the greatest gifts I ever have received is you. Our first day of 6th grade was approximately 2,475 days ago. While I was born in November of 2006, I don't think I truly started living until the end of August in 2018, when we met for the very first time. My earliest memory of us goes back to the fall of 6th grade when we all went on our outdoor ed trip to North Bay. There were 2 zip lines side by side, and somehow you were on one podium and I was on the other, going at the same time. I remember one of the first words you said to me when we were up there above all of our classmates and the trees. You said, "You promised to go with me, really jump off at the same time and not stay back," in which I eagerly responded with a yes, I promise. In that moment, I didn't know I was also making a lifelong promise to myself. I promised to always go with you and always to be your right-hand girl standing beside you. You're my, if you jump, I jump Jack. For better or worse, I'm always going to be there to jump with you. You're so full of life and have taught me what it means to be alive. While we have spent countless days on end talking to each other, I believe we may have spent more time laughing with one another. You have a way of making me smile and laugh until we are no longer making audible noises, but looking like we are in discomfort, and we transition into being inaudible and rocking back and forth until our cores hurt. No one brings me that kind of pure joy like you do. Did you know that you blow me away? The energy you put into everything you do astounds me. I watch you in awe. You're my idol. Whether it's the effort you poured into preparing for your bat mitzvah in 7th grade, spending so much time on your Torah portion, even after it was delayed for over a year due to COVID, the summers or the way you showed up every day as a camp counselor for your bunk at Camp by the Sea. No wonder you did so well in Color Wars. You do love games after all. How you always go above and beyond in school, even doing more than what's assigned, or waking up early to help Babette with French Exploratory, or simply just making some of the best banana chocolate chip muffins I have ever tasted. Thank you for protecting me from the parts of life that sting, tasting food first to make sure it's not spicy for me, or how when we were getting ready for bed at a sleepover, you go to turn the fan on high while I'm brushing my teeth, because you know I like to go to bed when it's cold. When you notice I'm about to laugh at a restaurant when someone comes to take our order, so you order for me. And even telling me what color underwear to wear so it doesn't show through my outfit. Or more seriously, the way you know how to bring me down from anxiety. The comfort and care you pass on to me through advice and guiding me in the right direction. You've gotten me through the hurt and confusion that high school threw in my way, and for that, I'm so grateful forever. We've been on so many fun adventures together, whether it's our trip to Boston to see Sandra and Charlie, traveling to Essex, going to Rockport and eating delicious scallops, getting t-shirts and cookies at Russell Orchards afterwards, showing me around your world in Ventnor, New Jersey, where you take me to the best bagels and coffee, or how to catch a wave just right when body surfing. So one night, Ultimate Werewolf in Brattleboro, Vermont with Tosh and John. I want to do it all with you. You are the highlight of every memory I have, every turn I take. I know you are in my corner. I love your family and how I can walk into your house unannounced and no one is alarmed, yet they welcome me with open arms. I want to thank your dad for always buying me blueberry bagels, your mom for always laughing at my jokes and being a supporter of mine, and Liz for fixing my hair and makeup before homecoming and prom, and Tootsie, of course, for the kisses. I think over the past 7 years of our friendship, we have seriously talked about everything there is. The one thing we've never been able to discuss and instead hit each other with the, no, we can't talk about that right now, is here. It's now, our graduation, where we will no longer be able to go to school together, be able to hold pinkies in class, drive a quick 3.4 miles to the other's house, has arrived. Honestly, I can't imagine my life without seeing you every day. You're my best friend, my ultimate inspiration, my sister. On the days I can't bear anyone else, I can bear you. Even if we're just in silence, it's okay, because your shoulder is there for me to lean on. I don't know what I'm going to do without you, 421 miles. Why do Delaware and Vermont have to be so far away? But I'm confident I'll be okay, because I know you'll always be at the other end of the phone, ready to FaceTime, to share whatever crazy thing just happened, like always. And I can't wait to see how our friendship grows from here. I know it'll only get stronger. I promise to send you every song that reminds me of you. I would walk to you in a heartbeat for one of your hugs. Thank you for knowing me better than anyone else and loving me inside and out. Being your best friend is my favorite thing to be. I can't wait for the future of Bobby and Moose, and don't forget, I think you are the most incredible and beautiful girl around. I love you forever and ever, Elle.
Cookie Clayton Gross V.
Good morning, everyone. Ooh. I'm not going to make it through this if you do that. I'm here today to talk about a legend, icon, force of nature wrapped in glitter, dice, stage makeup, and a perfectly sharpened pencil, and I dare say in full sartorial splendor today. I'm talking, of course, about Cookie. Now, if you don't know Cookie, I am very sorry for you. But that's okay, because I'm about to give you a speed run of everything that Cookie has meant to this school, this theater, and our creative spaces, and to the very fabric of this great nation. Let's start with the obvious. Cookie is one of the most fearless and creative stage performers I've ever had the pleasure of watching. And I do mean fearless. There are no small choices when it comes to the characters that they create. Everything is big, everything is grand, everything is nigh apocalyptic, and somehow it all works. It shouldn't, but it does, and that's Cookie's magic. Yet they are not merely a superhero under the spotlight or on the stage. Backstage, they are one of the most beloved presences in every production. If you've ever had a costume emergency, a prop panic, a full-on existential crisis between acts 2 and 3, Cookie was probably there calming you down, figuring out whatever your ish is. Now, I could also go on and on about Cookie's writing because, yes, on top of everything else, Cookie is a wildly gifted writer. Cookie's been a prolific writer, and what's more, has had the courage to submit works for contests and to be mounted on stage, featuring a recent premiere of your magnum opus, Pineapple. Though, for my money, I'm also partial to Destroying Angel, A Slaughter in 2 Acts. True title, by the way. This storytelling acumen spills out of the theater as well, and nowhere is this more apparent than when they are leading one of their legendary Dungeons & Dragons campaigns. Now, Cookie doesn't just run campaigns, they build worlds. And as the person who for many years was often trying to run a campaign while my players were gazing longingly at the source of uproarious laughter coming from the supposedly soundproof rooms in the upper school library, seriously, I'd be sitting there, and there'd be this loud laughter, and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh yeah, that sounds like fun. It was very humbling to know that whatever was going on, Cookie's game was always way more fun and interesting than your own. But look, all of this, all of it, it pales in comparison to the person. Cookie the friend, Cookie the listener, Cookie the fiercely loyal human who shows up every single time for the people they care about. Cookie's been a rock for so many, not just when the lights are on, but probably most importantly, when things get dark as well. Their compassion is quiet, steady, and infinite. So today, as Cookie prepares to graduate and move on to build even bigger worlds, on stage, on paper, probably in a group chat as well, I want to say thank you on behalf of everyone here, and even many who are not. Thank you for your laughter, both your own and what you've brought out of us, your loyalty, your creativity. Thank you for the stories, the chaos, the hugs, the inspiration. Thank you, above all, for being entirely, unapologetically, brilliantly you. We will miss you more than words can say, but we know the world is about to get a lot more dazzling, a lot more daring, and probably a lot more dramatic. Congratulations, Cookie. Way to roll a natural 20 in the game of life.
Sophia Riley Hagen.
All right, it's feeling real now. Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. How are we feeling? All right. I'm Cece Hagen, Sophia Hagen's little sister. If you spent more than 5 minutes with her, you'll pick up on her compassionate heart, captivating think pieces, sensible spirit, and delicious food. Luckily, I've had the blessing of knowing her for 16 years. Her way of exercising her voice against what is wrong, praising those who are right, and the various times she has stood up for me has made her a person I could confide in. Being her little sister has filled my life with millions of unforgettable moments. Whew. From every vacation to every conversation, although I don't always show it, I always look forward to our sisterly time. Somehow, you always make me feel heard, appreciated, and loved. Our car ride conversations bring clarity, our everyday conversations bring joy, and overall, you bring love. Your tenacity has allowed you to overcome so much, and I know, and it will allow you to succeed and be a great culinary professional we know you're all going to be at the Johnson & Wales University. Your creativity, resilience, and humor will shock the campus this upcoming fall. Although Mom, Dad, and I will miss you every day, we will leave you to conquer the world head on. Know that with every challenge, complaint, and victory, we're always one call away. Mom wanted me to remind you to be steadfast in your conviction, have a loving heart, be curious, be kind, and know that Mom always has your back. Dad wanted me to say, you're 18 and a high school graduate. You can do whatever you want. You know what you want. You know what you want. Make mistakes, course correct, and you'll be fine. You got this. I love you, and I'm super proud of you. We're almost there. Okay. Although this new chapter in your life will be filled with spontaneous memories, don't forget the one we shared. I am forever proud of you for everything you've done and everything you will do. Because I can't fit my appreciation, gratitude, and love for you into a 400-word speech, I will leave you with this quote from Christy Brinkley. Sisters are like stars. You may not always see them, but they're always there. I love you, and I'm beyond proud to be your sister.
Emery Ruth Hine.
Good morning, families, faculty, and graduates. When I picture Emory, one image always comes to mind first. An ordinary Tuesday lunch block this past spring. The art room was buzzing with students and paint jars when she strode in and, without a hint of self-consciousness, launched into a song for the upcoming musical. Brushes froze, sandwiches hovered in midair, and for one unforgettable minute, we were all transported from lunchtime hum to center stage. That fearless joy is at the heart of who she is. Emory has thrived on two stages at Key, art and theater, and she excels on both with the same quiet determination. In every production since she joined Key in 9th grade, she has embraced the craft, not for applause, but for the chance to grow alongside those she admires. She shared with me, "I am surrounded by people who make me better." That incredible humility, paired with resilience, is the signature of her character. Her portrayal of Miss Peretti in the Putnam County Spelling Bee was nuanced, humorous, and deeply moving. I know I wasn't the only one with tears in my eyes when she sang that solo on stage. In the studio, Emory's work matured from lively experimentation to a senior exhibition of striking clarity. Pieces that speak in her own visual language about identity and belonging. Leading our women's affinity group, she brought that same conviction to conversation, proving that art and advocacy are simply two ways of drawing truth. What sets Emory apart, however, is not only talent. It is a generosity of spirit that lifts everyone near her, and a fierce loyalty that makes friendship feel like a promise. You see it when she stays late to help a classmate hang a painting, or when she steps forward first in a difficult discussion. Emory has shared with me that she would love to be a teacher, and she spent her senior project guiding young students through the marvel of mixing paints and possibility. I have no doubt that as you continue forward to these next steps, that one day you will be a phenomenal teacher. And I know this because you have taught me so much. I can see you in your future classroom, sharing your fearless lunchtime singing and a passion for guiding children to discover, through your example, that courage and kindness belong together. Thank you for sharing your light with us, Emery. May you continue to paint boldly, speak honestly, and always sing at the top of your lungs.
Luke Lead Holmes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tate. I'm Luke's brother, and I've been given the great honor of being forced to speak today. After Luke's 6 years here, I know he's excited to be graduating and moving on to college, but I'm sure he's going to remember the good times he had at the Key School. If you know Luke at all, you know that he has a little bit of an interesting personality. I talked to some of his friends and teammates to get a sense of how they see him. His tennis teammates agreed that he was eager to help others on the team, and that in general, he had a good attitude. Clearly, they haven't seen him in the car. Even if it wasn't always obvious. Oh, sorry. When I talked to some of his friends, they described Luke as resilient and level-headed. I looked at the comments he's gotten from his teachers over the years. At the beginning of his Key School career, his teacher said that he was well prepared and comfortable participating in class. At the end of middle school, he was doing well in class, but participating less, which seems about right. When Luke returned from his year abroad, his teachers noted that he stood out as a leader and was mentoring classmates. Throughout all of his time at Key, his teachers have noticed his strong critical thinking skills and reserved nature. Luke, obviously you've grown and developed during your time at Key. From speaking to your classmates, friends, and teammates, looking back at the comments from your teachers over the years, I can honestly say that I think you're destined to be a good leader and have a good future ahead of you. Good luck at college, and congratulations.
Caleb Gerald Hurt.
Hi everyone, if you don't know me, I'm Maddie, Caleb's little sister. So from a young age, my brother and I weren't very close. Growing up, we had constant fights, sometimes even Nerf gun fights that more often than not ended in tears. But as we got older, something started to shift, and a huge part of that was our faith. Caleb began attending BASM, our church's student ministry, and invited me to come with him. Through it, we started building mutual friendships, serving together, and overall really connecting for the first time in our lives. From barely talking to becoming best friends, one thing made the difference, and that was God. He brought my brother and I closer than we have ever been, and for that I'll be forever grateful. Caleb, you're truly an inspiration to everyone around you. You light up every room you walk into, and your laugh is ridiculously contagious. I've seen God work through you at this school, through Revival Bible Study, your academic determination, and your service at church. You lead with kindness, strength, and compassion for those around you. You've overcome so much, and as your sister, I couldn't be more proud. I'll always treasure how close we've grown, and I'll miss our spontaneous adventures like driving 40 minutes in traffic just to get Raising Cane's, or stopping traffic on the Eastport Bridge to grab your falling car antlers. Those moments are so us, so random, chaotic, and full of unforgettable laughter. But beyond the fun and chaos, it's the little things that remind me of how special our relationship is. You always make delicious food for me without me even asking, and somehow you always think of me no matter the situation. Whether it's making sure I'm okay, bringing me something you know I'll love, especially with your EMT discounts, or just looking out for me in ways big and small, your acts of kindness mean more than words can say. Thank you for being my biggest supporter through my faith, school, and life in general. You've been more than a brother, you've been my best friend, a person I can and will always confide in. As you head off to Middlebury, I know you're going to do incredible things. While I'll miss you being around, I know that you will have such a fun time meeting new people and making new memories. Keep being that light, that joyful presence, and that steady example of grace and strength in times of adversity. The world needs more people like you. Always remember Romans 8:28. And we know in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Let that truth guide you, especially when the path before you feels uncertain. You're deeply loved, purposely made, and equipped for such a time as this. Congratulations, Caleb. I love you, and I'm so proud of you.
Adiola Oluwa Tomiwa Joanne Ejiti.
Good morning, everyone. I first met Adiola as her teacher in American Civ last school year. She was one of my quieter students, and initially getting to know her, I thought she was just perpetually reserved. Sure, she shared insights in class or would email me thoughts on a particular reading assignment, but it wasn't until the first time I read her writing that I realized this is someone who always speaks with intentionality, care, and purpose. Adiola's piece of writing kickstarted our relationship. She began coming to me more often, sometimes just to chat, other times for help on her papers, eager to hone her writing skills and perfect the flow with which she'd convey her deeply reflective and compelling ideals about our society and the world around her. And then her junior year and thus American Civ ended. But then, a few months later, I received the roster for my African American literature course. I scanned the names, eager to see what faces would fill my classroom on our first day, and was elated when I read Adiola Ejiti, a name with so much power, so much purpose. It was during this time in African American Lit, or AFAM as our class affectionately called it, and 5 months to be exact, that I had the privilege of witnessing some of the most tremendous growth I've seen in a student. It was during this time that I got to listen to her critical, astute insights in which she initially needed some coaxing and encouragement from me to share, but gradually built up the confidence to do so on her own. And it took this for me to learn that Adiola is one to reflect deeply on not just a piece of literature, but anything, taking her time with it and sharing perspectives that enrich the spaces she occupies. It was during this time where she explored and examined texts like A Raisin in the Sun, writing eloquently about how she saw her Yoruba culture reflected in the storylines, themes, and complexities of Hansberry's words. It was during this time where Adiola continued to come out of her shell, where those poignant reflections, which were usually followed by snaps of affirmation from her classmates and me, her jokes and her infectious laughter helped weave together the fabric of our classroom environment. And it was during this time where Adiola expressed her passions for politics and entrepreneurship, showing and sharing her care for the world and her endeavor to make it a better place, all while expressing a deep curiosity in the structures that buttress our society and how these structures affect us all. This wonderment and this care highlights who Adiola is, a graciously deep, reflective, and purposeful student and person, who supports and fosters community, whose quiet, reserved nature does not intimate passiveness. Oh, on the contrary, it instead signifies a deep well of thoughtfulness, insight, and a quiet strength. Adiola, you've made Key a better place. You lead with calm, compassion, and warmth inside and outside the classroom. Hold these qualities close. They will become your superpower. It has truly been a joy to witness your growth and you finding your voice. Never forget how important that voice is. Those around you who hear it are better for it. Your kindness, poise, keen intellect, pensiveness, focus, I could go on, will continue to take you far. Beyond Key, beyond Towson University, to your goals and dreams. I can't wait to see what wonderful things you'll accomplish next, and never be afraid to take up space. I'll miss you, congratulations, and good luck on this new, exciting, and transformative journey.
Ginevra Elizabeth Iliff.
Ginevra and I once fought for a week to claim the contested territory between our bedroom doors. We attempted to negotiate a peace, then we set a time and place, and then she cartwheeled into my stomach and the war was over. Now, while I first saw that as a reason to curl up on the floor and wait for my breath to return, I now see it as evidence of one of Ginevra's most prominent character traits. Ginevra never gives up on anything once. Was the 20 square feet of carpet between our rooms or her first phone, she has persisted and succeeded. Now, that doesn't mean she got everything she fought for. We didn't get a dog or a hamster or a rabbit. I mean, she did manage to tame a wild rabbit in our backyard during COVID, and we still feed it organic peas twice daily. In the long run, Ginevra's persistence has gotten her places. It brought her recognition as a captain, an all-conference athlete in 2 sports. It won her a 1-vote margin over me in the Student Forum presidential election. It allowed her to send in her 4.0 bearing transcript to the University of Maryland Business Honors College and reply affirmatively to their acceptance letter. I know and expect that Ginevra will continue to fight for what she wants and that she will get it. One day she will have a dog, maybe a hamster, definitely a rabbit. But in August, I will reclaim that 20 square feet of carpet. Now, my sister, who, full disclosure, cast the deciding Student Forum vote for Ginevra, will say a few words.
Since we were little, Ginevra and I have always fought. It could be petty little things like sharing clothes or who would get the toy. But as we grew older and hopefully more mature, those fights turned into late-night talks about drama, boys, and friends. This made us grow to understand each other. Ginevra, you can always tell when I'm lying or when I'm dying to tell you something, and you know all of my weird habits. But somewhere along the way, you stopped being my sister and you became my friend. And now, as you get ready for college, it's finally hitting me that you won't always be here. I'm going to miss our drives home, our sister-assisted sports, and the laughter we share when we understand a joke that no one else gets. I can't count the number of times we blasted the music and sang at the top of our lungs, hoping that we sound semi-decent. It's going to be hard knowing that I can't just walk into your room anymore to vent or laugh or cry. And even though you're not going super far away, it will feel like we are thousands of miles apart. One of the hardest parts of your graduation is knowing to play sports without you. We played sports together our whole lives, pushing each other to be better, side by side. At our last lacrosse game, we both started crying because we knew it was the end of the I'll never forget that moment, looking at you and realizing I'd have to face the field without you next year. I want you to know this. You are smart, brave, kind, maybe a little scary at times, but you're full of potential. You've worked so hard for this, and you deserve every good thing coming your way. Just remember, we are all so proud of you, but I'm going to miss you. You better come home on the weekends. No matter where life takes you, You'll always be our big sister and my best friend.
Jasdeep Kapoor.
A couple of weeks ago, I sat down with Jasdeep to reflect on his time at Key in preparation for this moment. I've known him through our math classroom, but it was a treat to hear more about his whole experience and his perspective on his education. What stood out most is that Jasdeep is a bit of a philosopher at heart, a deep thinker drawn to making connections. He talked about how playing the piano and his music theory classes here at Key later confirmed patterns he thought about in his younger years. He shared how boxing, which he started in 9th grade, taught him structure and strategy, how understanding an opponent and predicting moves felt a lot like the learning he was doing here at school. And in his Civ courses, he found that the ideas he'd long considered were echoed in many of the units they covered. Jasdeep's mind is always at work, finding meaning across disciplines and life experiences, constantly looking for connections. Jasdeep, I think, is a little more curious about my observations of him over the past 3 years, so here are some snapshots. 10th grade, pre-calculus. Somewhere in the middle of the year, Jasdeep started sending emails to meet about some homework questions. He came to those meetings, not office hours, that was too early, right? Mostly with empty paper or just a list of question marks. Now, these were typically assignments that were due the day or week before. But I was glad that Jasdeep did not just submit question marks and call it done. He always wanted to understand the details and why of a problem. And so we worked at it, though I believe he would have appreciated if I just told him what to do rather than answering his questions with more questions. Okay, 11th grade. In 11th grade, Calculus 1-2, Jasdeep started showing up before assignments were due, right, ready to work through ideas. He realized real understanding took more time, and he rose to the challenge. He even took on the task of teaching himself units on infinite series and parametric and polar functions so that he could be successful on the AP Calculus BC exam. His determination and work ethic in this venture was impressive, and that kind of initiative and independent effort was a huge leap from where he'd been just a year earlier. Now, how did the AP exam go? Well, they had only used a calculator on the calculator portion of the test. Right? In 12th grade, it was clear that all of the work that Jasdeep did in the spring set him up for success in Calculus 2-3. Clearly, he's a very capable, talented mathematics student. Calculus 3 in high school, right, makes that clear. But overall, what I thought about in reflecting over the last 3 years was how much Jasdeep has grown over the past 3 years. From question marks to mastery, you wouldn't recognize the sophomore and the senior. He's become an independent, confident learner, ready for what's next, ready to continue making connections. When I asked Jasdeep about some standout moments or memories from high school, the first one, maybe because he was talking to me, was that AP Calculus exam, a real thorn in his side. But he sought redemption this year and took it again a few weeks ago, with a calculator this time, right? I expect he'll hear good news from the College Board in July. But the memories he spoke about most plainly but most movingly was his time in Asian Affinity. That group was a key part of helping him acclimate to Key as a new student, and when he went on to be a leader of the group for 2 years. He most enjoyed planning events like the AAPI Heritage Month activity rotation that we did in the upper school in May, and he notes that food always piques people's interest. In his own words, the biggest takeaway from Asian Affinity: it made me feel like I mattered. I wasn't just walking through the hallways. What I shared in that space mattered to somebody, which means it mattered to the school as a whole. And that builds confidence in you, and it feels good when people have a better understanding of your culture. I asked Jasdeep if he will look for a similar group at BCU in the fall. His immediate reply, "Oh, I will definitely continue this in college. And if there's not a group, I can always just make one." Said with a shrug, right, a nonchalance, but what confidence and boldness there is in that short statement. I hope that all of our graduates feel like they are leaving here with the skills to work towards making their worlds what they want them to be, We need that brave, nonchalant boldness. Congratulations, Jazz Deep, on your graduation. You are ready to start creating your place in the world, and I wish you all the very best in each step along the way.
Mason Stultz Kelly.
Mason Kelly is a man of few words. Although I may be a woman of a few more, I will take a cue from Mason and aim for concision. As I speak, you may note that Mason is also a man of relatively few facial expressions, but each one of them communicates quite a bit. There's the raised eyebrow, the bottom side lip, the furrowed brow, the puckered side mouth. Based on which ones you see, you'll get a sense of what he truly thinks of this speech. There's a smile, a smile. I was a fixture of Mason's weekly schedule during his 9th through 11th grade years, as he consulted with me on his civ papers and projects, and we kept an eye on his assignments overall. That being said, when I heard Mason's excellent senior project presentation earlier this week, it not only represented the greatest number of sentences I had ever heard him say at one time, but I believe he said more words in that presentation than I'd heard him say collectively in the 3 years that we worked together. And I will confess, the first time you emailed me, I thought that your mother had written it. I thought, these are complete sentences, and so upbeat. But I quickly came to understand that you were more comfortable expressing yourself in writing, and I appreciated your specific follow-up questions and comments regarding the items that we touched on in person. Mason's particular blend of quantity and quality became evident as I read his essays. When students are tasked with writing a 5-paragraph, 3 to 5 page, always ends up being 6 or 7 page essay, I am dubious of a 3-page essay. So when Mason's first 3-pager arrived in my inbox, I thought, here we go. However, I was stunned by Mason's precision of language, which continued to be a hallmark of his writing. It is not hyperbole for me to say that in 26 years as an educator, I have never read so few words that have said so much. I was impressed by Mason's eloquence, which, as Jeff would later describe, as economical and compelling. You will understand then why we would not turn down the opportunity to hear your voice, literally, a bit more often. Seeing as Mason will be studying engineering in college, I know that his time with me and in our civ classrooms represents only a snapshot of who he is as a student and a person. I did a little sleuthing to learn more about him as a STEM student. If we were to make a word cloud out of Mason's report card comments, the large word in the center may very well still be quiet or quietly. However, as Mason navigated his way through upper school, his teachers more and more often referred to his diligence, attention to detail, dedication, ability to synthesize challenging concepts, his strong and efficient problem solving, and his way of clearly seeing a problem for what it is and attacking it. However quiet you may be, your teachers recognize your thorough research, impressive understanding, confident approach, and that you are an engaged and curious person who is a careful listener. These are certainly the qualities of a fine engineer. You are also a man of surprises. There have been unexpected ways we have heard your voice. Jeff was blown away by your recitation of John Donne's No Man is an Island, and I could not hide my disbelief when we discussed your course selection for this year, and you eagerly selected chorus as a full-year elective. I was delighted to get some intel from your mom about your enjoyment of singing, which evolved into Ms. Kirshner's praise for your commitment to the ensemble's success as a confident performer. Mason, it has been my pleasure to work with you. It will be a while before I no longer expect to see you in your little corner of the library, working on your computer, or perhaps playing a game or watching a video. As someone partial to attending college in the great state of North Carolina, I am very excited for you as you embark on your next chapter at High Point. I hope your peers and professors will have the opportunity to hear more of your voice, as you have so very much to say.
Violet Curdilla.
All right, a piece of advice. If you have an old favorite, say a novel, a poem, a show, a movie, a song, and maybe that old favorite occupies a place in your mind as familiar, known, solved, and resolved, submit it to Violet for review and discussion, and she will make it new for you. Now, this might seem like narrow advice, good only for someone who's currently teaching Violet, so none of us, unfortunately, or one in whose life Violet will remain a presence into the future. And that covers a number of people present today, and as an aside, let me acknowledge that I hope to be counted among that group. Yeah, I'm a bit of a crier, too. But I want to concentrate on this idea of making it new, which was once a rallying slogan for the modernist literary movement, but also pretty fitting for an exceptionally bright young lady who stands, as all these students up here stand today, on a threshold. And on a threshold, we look backward, and we look forward. Backward with some sentimentality, I hope some wistfulness, and most likely, if you are a high school student, a rip-roaring gusto to get on out of here and take on the world. Looking forward then, we are filled with excitement, maybe some trepidation, eagerness for new discoveries, certainly with plenty of questions. So Violet, a lot of things are going to happen to you starting pretty soon, and some questions are, how will you handle the challenges? How will you process what comes your way? What will you make of the world through the lens of a student in a new world of higher education? And Violet, now I'll go ahead and predict what your answer to those questions is. Wow, Jeff, those are some pretty boring questions. What I want to convey to you all about Violet is that she has a very strong perception of the way things work in this world, in the sense of received knowledge. Do you know what I mean by this phrase, received knowledge? The concepts and conclusions that most people commonly accept as true. Received knowledge is backward-looking, and that can be, and very often is, a good thing. But it is also often uncritical. You know, we say like, well, I know that's true because most people, think that's true or say that that's true. And for that element, my friend Violet has very little use. So highly generalized, commonplace questions like mine are not likely to impress her. Now, I will be honest and say I'm actually very interested in the questions I've just posed, but that's because I'm an old person who feels invested in your future. But what I've realized in wanting to articulate to you some compelling questions is that the questions you will pose for yourself will be infinitely more compelling. Much of what's to come will be new to you, Violet, but it will also be new through you, because the world you are about to get to know is yours to experience and yours to change. I exhort you to be flexible, be inviting, be loving. Discovery comes to those who are open to it. So I ask that you embrace all viewpoints with equal curiosity and remember that the first good thing to do with a viewpoint you don't agree with is to try to understand it. But also be not afraid, and I know you won't be, to exercise your well-honed critical faculty in pursuit of the truth as you feel it. And finally, do me one favor and take a stance against certainty. Certainty, my dear friend, can be a dangerous thing. Violet, there are immensely fascinating books and deeply brilliant fellow learners awaiting you at St. John's College. In many ways, the work you and I and your classmates have done together these past 3 years only scratches the surface of what you'll confront there, but I know you are well equipped. I know, too, that you will pose sensitive, penetrating questions, that you will listen with an open heart, that you will make it all new by being you. looking backward and looking forward, ever on the threshold of a new discovery. And please, come by and tell me about it.
Cora Violet Latai.
Hi, I'm Cora's friend Mila. I've known Cora since we were 2 years old. Not only have we had such a long friendship, but in those 17 years we've known each other, I've learned what it means to love people unconditionally. Me and Cora are both only children and have lived completely different lives, but we always come together for our weekly hangouts. When we were younger, our weekly hangouts would be filled with temper tantrums and us arguing over who got to be the girl in Wii Sports. We'd scream and yell, and my mom would take me home because of how mad we were, but yet 2 hours later, I'd beg my mom to take me back the next day. Coming up with elaborate lies at preschool so I could catch a ride home with Cora. But why? Why did I have such a strong connection with someone no matter how many times we've argued? Why were we always able to make up so easily? What I've learned in those 17 years of knowing Cora is that she cares, and that's not an understatement. Ever since we were younger, she's always approached everything with everything. She would never cut corners and find the easiest way to do something. She spends that time breaking things down to fully understand the issue. Not only is this a great quality to have, but it comes naturally for Cora. And when we were younger, yes, we would come into these arguments, but not once did she not try to understand where I was coming from. She wanted to know what was truly wrong because she cares. Over our friendship, I've gotten so many tattoos and piercings and cut and dyed my hair, and after all of those changes, Cora did not bat her eye once. She broke me down and looked at me from the inside and still chose to love and care for me. And so yes, I'm proud for what a big achievement graduating is for Cora. All I can say is that I'm not surprised. Not only does she care for people, but she cares for the work that she does. You cannot catch Cora skipping a reading or deciding not to do her work for the one time. If it means she has to get 3 hours of sleep to finish her homework, that's exactly what she's gonna do. There were so many times I've had to come over to Cora's with a mask on because of all the constant colds she was getting from sleep deprivation, but it shows the length she's willing to go to not only have a good grade for herself, but to show her teachers that she cares about the work they're giving her. I've never met someone who cares so much about everything, making everything a top priority. And I bet a lot of people here can confirm that Cora is one of the most loyal and kind-spirited people you'll ever meet, and also the most humble. Even though Cora doesn't brag about how amazing she is, and so a lot of what she does can go unnoticed, I'm so glad that I can do it for her and really let people know how incredible my best friend is. And lastly, I just want to wish her luck on all the future and other amazing accomplishments that she'll make. Congratulations, Cora.
Theo Bennett Levering.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Fortino. I'm the engineering teacher and the robotics team advisor here at Key. And I practice it a lot, and I thought I wasn't going to cry, and things are looking questionable. Okay. Theo Levering was one of the first students I really got to know here. I was brand new this year, not just to Key, but to teaching in general, and Theo was a leader of the robotics club that I advise. Come the fall, we found ourselves in the lab a ton. Theo, the other leaders of the team, and myself on many long afternoons and evenings and weekends, tinkering, brainstorming, and sometimes just staring at a pile of gears and U-channels, silently hoping an idea would magically appear. I learned so much this year at Key. One thing that Theo taught me is that a student's true character shows itself under pressure. For example, totally hypothetically, at 10 p.m. the night before a robotics competition. Theo was always able to keep his cool and his sense of humor and he fully celebrated every win along the way, especially our spectacular 30-point lift. If you know, you know. Thank you. When Theo asked me to speak today, he said something that kind of made me laugh. Do you even think you have 4 minutes worth of stuff to say about me? And I thought, only 4? Because the truth is, I have already said so much more than that. I've spoken with his teachers about how impressed I was with the student who showed leadership. Oh boy, here it comes. Leadership and work ethic from day one. I've spoken with his parents on the sidelines of lacrosse games and robotics competitions about Theo's goals, his accomplishments, becoming an Eagle Scout, UMD, being named all conference, about the immense pride they have in their son. I've spoken to his fellow students, typically a much tougher audience, about how highly they regard the optimism, dedication, and integrity of their teammate and friend. 4 minutes doesn't really seem like enough to reflect, oh boy, on the impact Theo's had on this school, on our STEM program, and on my first year as a teacher, but I'm honored to try. Toward the end of the season, Theo and I discussed my hopes for his future role here. A mentor who returns to share his wisdom, to cheer on Team 9338, and to enjoy the legacy he worked for years to help build. Theo, as you move forward, I hope that stays true. I hope we see you back in the lab, maybe not at 10 p.m. Don't cry. Maybe not at 10 p.m., but back, guiding the next generation and reminding us all to keep our cool and celebrate our wins. Congrats.
Rosalie Marina Lowen.
Good afternoon, families, friends, faculty, and most of all, class of 2025. I first met Marina 2 years ago when she walked into my Art 1 class, a brand new junior at Key, surrounded by mostly 9th graders. She sat down, polite, but plainly wondering if fate had dropped her into the wrong art studio. Yet within weeks, she was ankle deep in charcoal and curiosity, creating art inspired by a magical childhood spent in the natural beauty of Vancouver and Alaska. Wildflowers under a midnight sun, auroras swirling across watercolor skies, and my favorite, 2 bald eagles clasping talons and hurtling earthward in their courtship spiral. Marina told me the fall is the test. Each bird must trust the other enough to risk the plunge before they let go and rise on separate wings. It was my introduction to the way she sees the world, courage stitched to connection. In only 2 years, she has impacted every corner of our school. When the cross-country team needed one more runner just to exist, Marina laced up her shoes and joined the team. For her capstone senior project, she guided first schoolers through muddy nature walks, turning curiosity into discovery. As an active member of Key Theater, she played starring roles, lending humor and grace to our stage, as well as mentoring young actors in the middle school. This past year, she worked tirelessly in our advanced studio space, creating an exceptional body of work while also supporting and encouraging her peers. This is probably what strikes me most about Marina. the way she makes other people feel as though they matter. She makes them feel brave about being themselves. Marina takes time to notice others and then works so that there's room for them to show up as they truly are. Once everyone feels that safety, difficult or risky projects suddenly become possible. A tough day becomes manageable, and friends feel empowered to be their best selves. In seeing the individual, she lays the foundation for a team. And she does this while holding an almost impossible balance. She can step forward to be the star, and she can just as readily step back so someone else can shine. I know few people who manage both with such grace, and it speaks to a profoundly generous heart. The art room felt that generosity most. Marina's senior art exhibition transformed a blank gallery space into a northern forest. Charcoal birds and trees, block-printed wildlife flashing through the trunks, embroidery tracing moss and feathers. At the center hung a massive pair of wings, spread wide, every feather painstakingly hand-painted and collaged. The piece was completed when someone stepped between the wings, because Marina designed it that way. Art completed by community. Marina, as you head towards new landscapes, another trail to explore, a studio to light up, a path to run, remember what your own work teaches. Your gifts reach their height when they lift others. Bravery often looks like simply showing up, as you did for your teammates, your friends, and those first schoolers. And when life feels overwhelming, picture those eagles daring to fall together so each can soar higher apart. Marina, thank you for reminding us that kindness and creativity are meant to be shared. We're so proud of you. Keep sketching, keep asking questions, and keep inviting the world to stand in the space your wings create. Congratulations, Marina.
Angus John Lunt Woodward.
I was awakened early in the morning on August 9th, 2007. It's a boy! It's a boy! As I sat up in my bed, my older brother burst into my room. And his name is Angus! I can still feel that overwhelming joy from the August morning. He's gonna be really good at baseball, was my first thought. I was 11 and going through a very intense baseball phase at the moment. So over the last 17 years, I've had the pleasure of watching my little brother Angus grow into a remarkable young man, scholar, and friend. What strikes me most about you, Angus, is the way that you are a dedicated friend, son, and sibling. You're already crying, go on. One of my favorite memories that solidified who you were becoming happened at Thanksgiving a couple years ago. I was 26 and you were 15, and I'd been going through a rough patch in life, which you will learn often happens in your mid-20s. And as we were sitting next to each other on our grandparents' couch, I told you in passing that I'd been crying a lot recently. Without pause, do you remember this? Yeah, kind of. Without pause, you looked up at me with concern. You grabbed my hand without a word. The conversation carried on, but you held your big sister's hand. I have to admit that I was worried that you might grow out of this tenderness, as some men seem to do on the edge of adulthood. And we live in a world today that praises rugged individualism. It defines masculinity as that which is tough, unfeeling, and oozing with bravado. But you, Angus, know the truth. You know that your greatest trait is not your intellect or your athletic ability. Your greatest gift is your tenderness and your deep care for those you love. As you leave this community, I encourage you and every graduate to hold on to this tenderness and nurture it as your greatest gift. And when things get hard in this next chapter, which they will, and doubt starts to creep in that makes you question your worth, your place in this world, remember that there were so many people who were overjoyed when they learned that you were born. Me, your parents, cousins, grandparents, aunts and uncles, and even the midwife and the nurses who heard your first cry. And we still feel that joy today. It's a joy that is overflowing with love, and there is nothing, Angus, nothing you can do that will ever separate you from this love. Rest in this love. Let it carry you and inspire you to know that you are capable of so much more than you can even imagine. We are all so proud of you, Angus.
Anthony Joseph Manganero.
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to stand before you today as we celebrate the class of 2025, but it is truly an honor to stand before you today to celebrate a remarkable human, AJ Manganero. Can you believe that I have had the privilege of knowing you since you were 8? It's debatable. I got a bunch of stories. I remember the day I met you so clearly. AJ was curious, wide-eyed, and full of questions. He was so excited to show me his challenge videos, in particular, one of him making a watermelon explode by adding, it had to be 10,000 rubber bands. I watched this little kid excited, like, it's coming up, it's about to happen. Can we believe that that kid grew up to be so chill? However, one of the things that stood out to me the most was the questions that he asked about me. The questions that he asked about my interests reached beyond the surface and hinted at a depth of thought and empathy that he already carried within him at that young age. AJ was a healthy mix of both shocked and impressed as we talked, and he learned that I too shared a love of drones, comic books, and computers. Even back then, I knew he was a force to be reckoned with. I mean, what 8-year-old researches and builds his own gaming computer? AJ was the kind of child who could light up a room, not by being the loudest, but by being the most present. I also remember when a nervous AJ and his parents sat after he ended his 4th grade year and contemplated the decision of leaving a school where he felt safe and he felt like he belonged to come here to Key School. I promised I was not gonna cry. Over the years that he has spent in these hallways and on this campus, I've watched him grow into a thoughtful, confident, and compassionate leader. I've seen how he faced challenges. He faced challenges with courage, with resilience, and with tenacity. I've watched him ask the difficult questions and lean into the work of becoming a good person and not just achieving. This is the true beauty of the Key School experience. It doesn't just prepare students for the next chapter, it cultivates resilient thinkers, listeners, and world changers. I'm proud to say that during his time here, AJ has taken that to heart. Whether he was diving into a creative project, making music, making his friends laugh, or simply showing kindness when no one was watching, he has always chosen the path of purpose over praise. And that, to me, is the mark of true character. AJ, today as you stand proudly with your diploma in hand, I see not just a graduate, I see not just someone I met 10 years ago as a tutoring client. I see not just the source of several of my gray hairs and almost all of my wrinkles. I see a young man who embodies perseverance, creativity, and the kind of wisdom that only comes from staying rooted in who you are while daring to still grow. AJ, thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. That day 10 years ago, I thought I was meeting a client, but I met an extension of my family. Watching you evolve over these years has been one of my greatest privileges. I cannot wait to see what you do next at St. John's. Continue to show up with integrity. Continue to show up with grace. Continue to advocate for yourself. And with the quiet power that has always been yours, continue to be a world changer. Congratulations. I am so insanely proud of you. And congratulations to your fellow graduates. The world is truly a better place because all of you are in it.
Grayson Carey Cawthorn Martine.
Being an older brother has its advantages. First, I got to take the top bunk at home. Second, I can still feel like a kid by hanging out with my younger family members and their friends. But most importantly, I have a little brother. My brother Grayson is witty and honest and is the coolest brother to have. Also, he was my Key School graduation speaker 6 years ago and did a fantastic job, so let me try to do as well, and in doing so, bring a close to the 21-year Martine family dynasty here at Key. 2 months ago, Grayson drove up to visit me while I was working with FEMA Corps in Harrisburg, and we spent a day at Hershey Park. We went on over 10 rides, and our favorite roller coaster was Wildcat's Revenge. My favorite aspect of the ride is its fusion of a modern and fast steel track on top of an old-fashioned wooden support structure. This coaster combines both classic and new technologies to offer a superior experience, which is consistently ranked among the top rides nationwide. Grayson is very similar in that he also blends the old with the new. He is an old soul, and he has always had a vivid imagination. While I tried to watch SpongeBob on TV, little Grayson would play with Matchbox cars in front of the sofa, bringing them to life by making realistic and very loud sound effects of backfiring, revving, and crashing. Through his imagination, Grayson gave new life to old toys, and he was inspired by them. These cars and his lifelong passion for Legos have influenced his decision to study engineering at Purdue University. Indeed, he consistently proves his dedication to excellence through his merging of classic and modern ideas, from his passion for both the pianoforte and the electronic keyboard, his athleticism in both the time-honored art of Taekwondo and on the modern craft of a 420 sailboat, and his drive to tutor others both in the centuries-old French language here at Key and on the high-tech powerboats at Camp Seagull. Grayson is my best friend, and while this chapter of his life is over, I'm looking forward to the lifetime that we will spend together. I know that Grayson will take his steel and wood approach out into the world and find ways to solve problems using both tried and true methods and free-thinking modern advances. Grayson, my brother, I will always be there for you, and thank you for always being there for me. I love you, good luck, and congratulations on the greatest ride you've finished so far. On to the next one.
Chloe Ariel McCarthy.
Hello again. Imagine for a moment being 8,000 miles away in a small rural village. The temperature is well over 100 degrees with oppressive humidity, and you're still jet lagged from your 22-hour flight. Most of us would be understandably tired and perhaps a little cranky, but not Chloe. Even in those tough conditions, Chloe was an absolute ray of sunshine, radiating pure curiosity and positivity as we embarked on Key's service trip in Thailand. As you might imagine, students approached experiences like the one in Thailand in different ways and with different levels of comfort. Some are guarded and unsure, and some are curious yet restrained. It is the rare student, Chloe, who can quickly form meaningful connections with the local community through their authenticity and warmth, creating an almost immediate sense of safety and belonging. That, however, is one of Chloe's most remarkable, defining, and powerful qualities, whether halfway around the world or right here at Key. Chloe possesses a light that shines incredibly bright, and people are drawn to it in an almost magical way. Despite language barriers, cultural differences, and age gaps, Chloe connected with the Thai people in an extraordinary way. Whether playing games with the children in the village or working alongside our Thai hosts, she formed bonds that went well beyond her years. Her talent for connection was so evident that at the end of our trip, one of our hosts approached me to say, "She makes everyone feel like they matter." And he was right. Chloe is a treasure to those fortunate enough to walk alongside her. She embraces the world with sincerity and kindness, which are always evident in the way her eyes light up when she talks to you, and of course, her infectious smile that never fails to show people exactly what's in her heart. Chloe is the definition of a caring and loyal friend. She is known for her compassion toward others, her ability to be a thoughtful listener, and for the sincere advice she offers, ultimately helping her friends grow into better, stronger people. Her friends would also tell you she has a unique ability to hold space for others in the most genuine way, making them feel seen and valued. When we feel seen, we feel like we belong, and we feel like we matter. Chloe does that for people, and I suspect unknowingly, and that is a truly powerful gift to those in her life. Chloe is also an athlete and played a significant role on Key's swim and volleyball teams. When I reached out to her coach, the response was exactly what I expected, as her comments mirrored everything we've all come to that Chloe's magnetic energy, joyful spirit, and the way she champions and leads her teammates brought the team together in a truly impactful way. I believe one of Chloe's greatest qualities is the way she seamlessly pairs her authenticity with kindness and compassion. Her selfless and generous spirit lifts others up and nourishes their souls,
which is something she probably doesn't even realize given her deep humility. Simply by being herself, Chloe creates an atmosphere of warmth and acceptance that makes others feel safe, valued, and deeply cared for. I genuinely feel Chloe is one of the best kind of humans this life has to offer. And those of us who've had the privilege to share even part of her journey are better for it. I certainly know that I am. I have no doubt Chloe will continue to be exactly the kind of person we need more in this world, especially now. Congratulations, Chloe. I'm very proud of you and cannot wait to see the many ways you will impact the lives of others with your gentle soul. The world is brighter because you are in it, and I have no doubt this is just the start of your remarkable journey.
Ryder James Minnick.
Ryder. Not sure if you remember this, but the first interaction we really had was on B team soccer when I was in 6th grade and you were in 7th grade. At that point, I was a lot shorter, like 4'7", and you were not started your way to being the Jackson you are now. You were like sub 90 pounds probably. We didn't really interact much back then, let alone know each other as well as we do now. But I mean, if you look at us now, we've grown a lot, and I'm truly grateful to consider you one of my closest friends. Some things I've come to find by being Ryder's friend is how passionate he will get when he's fascinated about something. I could think of countless times when he's enthusiastically told me about something that has just piqued his interest, but one moment that stands out to me in particular, it was the end of last year. When the cross was done, we were both waiting to be picked up to go home, and he pretty much retold me his entire end-of-year Civ project. He didn't tell me it to show all the work he'd done or complain about his grade. He told me it because it was something that genuinely interested him. He wanted to share that. That moment always stood out to me because it was clear he wasn't just checking off a box on homework. He really put his energy into something that fascinated him. You know what that project was about? It was about the corrupt dairy industry and its effect on the American youth. Pretty random thing to get invested in, but nonetheless he was. And of course, anyone that knows him knows his dedication to the gym. He might not admit it, but his progress since he first started working out his freshman year is nothing short of seriously impressive, and I really admire his progress and his dedication. And we all know Ryder's a kind soul, but I would really not want to start a fight with him now. Ryder and I grew close because we kind of just became friends during like lacrosse and just hanging out. But we came even closer because of our shared interest in a lot of the same music, such as Vampire Weekend and Smashing Pumpkins. And I was very lucky to have a friend that had the same interest as me. But another trait I really admire about him is the way he likes a song. Not just because of the sounds, but if he really likes a song, it has some sort of meaning to him. Whether it's lyrics, or more often than not, it represents a significant memory. Like Contra, the album by Vampire Weekend, or for example, Monday Morning, a song by Death Cab for Cutie, which his mom played for him all the time on CD when he was little. I did not know that many people my age that put that much value into the meaning of a song, and I see that as a true testament to Ryder's character as a person. When talking to our friends, I think we can all agree on some common adjectives about Ryder. He's loyal, genuine, easy to talk to, and sincere. He can be funny and goofy when he wants, but serious and deep thinking when he finds it fitting. I know for me, he's one of the few people who I can hang out with one-on-one, and the conversation will never feel dry or forced. And I think that's a common theme for many people. Before my junior year, Ryder took care to help me get through it as smoothly as possible and give me guidance and advice about what was to come that genuinely helped me get through one of the toughest academic years at Key. He helped me grow as a person by taking interest in my life and just by being a presence in it as well. Plus, having him in the same physics class was pretty fun. I always enjoyed laughing at him and Jasper goof off. You can imagine why I always went to Scott for notes instead, but still, nice having him there. And when it came to the college process for Ryder, I knew he would know exactly what he wanted to get out of college, because that's who he is. And that's exactly what ended up happening. He found Loyola, and when he was telling me about it, I knew it would be the perfect option for him. I know Ryder will do great things at Loyola because that's who he is, and the care he puts into things that matter. I'm excited to hear how it turns out for him, and I could not be more proud of the young man that he's become today. Furthermore, I'm also happy he's going to college close enough that I can still call him every time I need to ask what energy drink I should get at a gas station when that pressing issue rises. Love you, Ryan.
Noah Sire Moore.
Good afternoon. Congratulations to the entire class of 2025. Many of you I watched grow. Some of you may have been in my first freshman seminar, and I am super proud of you. Thank you to all of the teachers and the faculty here that helped to get Noah to this point. A special thank you to Miss Shireen. I don't know if she's here, but when I left Key, she promised me that she would take care of Noah like it was her own son, and I'm eternally grateful to her. Noah, when you were born, I remember looking at your perfect face and wishing that I could protect you from the world. I had never felt so much love, gratitude, joy, and fear at the same time. But Noah, you've always shown that you never needed protection, just preparation. Seriously, when you were born, the doctors laid you on me, you pushed up, and you looked around the room. Everyone was amazed, even the doctors. You've always shown so much bravery and confidence. With your competitiveness in sports, your clever use of words, your bravery at your first sleepover and overnight trips, to driving and now as you prepare for college. I remember your first day of school. I tried my best to prepare Noah. I told him, I said, you're gonna have a classroom and teacher and books and toys. And so on the first day, you walked in, you looked around, you came over and you said, is this my classroom? I said, yeah. And you said, well, then why are all the kids here? And I realized I had left out an important detail. And also, that was my Noah. Nonetheless, you've learned to share and that the world doesn't revolve around you, almost, still learning. So Noah, I want to tell you that you are prepared and the world awaits. Every moment and every experience has prepared you. You are the manifestation of your grandparents and your great-grandparents' dreams and sacrifices. The fact that you are here is a miracle, and don't ever forget that. Your dad and I knew we wanted to give you opportunities that we could not have imagined. It was imperative that we gave you the best schooling, a foundational relationship with God, deep love, a voice, and a sense of pride in who you are. I don't know if you can tell, but this entire year for your father has been like watching a garden that he planted grow an abundance of fruits and vegetables. From your first college acceptance to your first scholarship down to your decision, you've been able to do what he couldn't, what his dad couldn't, what his forefathers couldn't. This is no small feat. In the words of James Baldwin, this innocent country set you down in a ghetto, in fact, in which it intended for you to perish. You were not expected to aspire to excellence. You were expected to make peace with mediocrity. But Noah, you've broken barriers for generations to come. You know who you are, and your ancestors are smiling. You've committed your life to God and grown stronger in your faith. Remember that Noah in the Bible believed God and built that ark even when everyone thought he was crazy. That's the faith that you'll need in this life. Challenges will come, and it is during those times that you practice the faith. You trust God and you thank him in advance. Because eventually, The storms will end, the birds will sing, and the flowers will bloom again. A wise woman once said, "You are chosen, not chastised." And so your 13-year journey at Key has come to an end. Every class, every teacher, every assignment, every experience, good, bad, and indifferent, has prepared you for what's next. You've become a leader, a scholar, an athlete, and a friend. It was at Key that you learned you could do anything that you put your mind to if you were willing to do the work. Remember when you wanted to be Spider-Man and you were determined to climb the wall? Duct tape and suction cups, he sent his dad to Home Depot. It was at Key that you learned that your voice mattered, sometimes a bit too much. You've learned to love and to fight for what you deserve. And even the scars that you've gained have fueled your passions and bring you one step closer to your destiny. Your next chapter is at your HBCU, Hampton University, your home by the sea. Don't worry, I forgive you. I am so grateful that you get to walk in the footsteps of hundreds of thousands of Black students who fought for an education. You will learn from some of the best educators in the world who will give you the gift of dignity and an education that will allow you to tap into your powers as a Black man. And this is just the beginning. There's a whole world out there waiting for you to see and experience. Remember to enjoy the view as you jump. And always, stay woke. I've never lied to you about your countrymen. But baby boy, nothing is more truer than what God says. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. God has plans for you to prosper. Your future is bright. Your dad and I, your siblings, your village, we are all so proud, and we will always be in your corner cheering for you. I love you deeply now, forever, and even into the next lifetime. Congratulations, my love.
Elizabeth Rose Navarro Manzo.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lucy Glassman, and I stand here before you today with the absolute honor to call Ellie Navarro Manzo, Key School Class of 25 graduate, my best friend. Little did I know what a text on September 2nd, 2018 held in store for me. A friend from my temple wrote, "Hey, there's this redhead girl named Ellie going to Key next year. I know her, you two should be friends." I remember thinking, well, okay, I like friends and I've seen her, but we haven't even spoken yet. At the time, Ellie and I had barely made eye contact, let alone have a conversation. But something about the message struck me. A voice inside told me to take the risk. I mean, as a 9th grader, it felt like a risk back then, but to take the risk and strike up a conversation, I did. Ellie was quiet at first. That lasted about 5 minutes. And then suddenly, I had this loud, brilliant, funny, kind, charming force of a person in my life, and I don't think there's been a quiet moment between us since then. Ellie is the kind of friend people spend years searching for, and quickly became one of the most important people in my life. She's loyal in the truest sense, not just someone who is there when things are easy, but someone who knows how to find you and pick you up when you're in your hardest, messiest, and most real moments. She's endlessly compassionate, always thinking about the people around her before she thinks about herself, always noticing when someone is hurting, and always doing something to make them feel less alone. She's selfless without ever seeking recognition. She innately knows how to love deeply and completely, and by nature does so quietly. Like when I had COVID during the holidays in 2020, I felt completely isolated from everything and everyone, maybe because I was quarantined for 10 days, and without warning or announcement, Ellie showed up at my house to surprise me with flowers, even though we couldn't get within 6 feet of each other. Or the time she surprised me by clipping balloons all over my car for my birthday, or the time she gave me one of the most thoughtful gifts I had ever received, a notebook containing a note she wrote me every single day since my last birthday. That's 365 efforts to offer me thoughts, affirmations, jokes, encouragement. That's who Ellie is. She doesn't do anything halfway. She puts her whole heart into everything, particularly what she loves. As incredible as her big gestures are, her quiet moments, the everyday ones that no one else sees, are the ones that forever live in your heart. Like when Ellie brings me an energy drink before school because she knows I'm exhausted, or grabs me a tissue without asking when she hears me sniffling with a runny nose. What I love most about our friendship is that it requires zero effort. Being with Ellie doesn't require a plan or an event or anything all that exciting happening. Just being next to her is enough. Some of our most meaningful times are nothing more than sitting in silence, lying on the couch, and eating Taco Bell. One of my favorite memories we share is from a moment that was entirely unplanned. We had gone out for hibachi, our favorite, and afterward, we stumbled across a little outdoor space we had never really noticed and heard live music playing. The artist was singing Something in the Orange by Zach Bryan, and the first note stopped us dead in our tracks. It was one of those evenings where the weather was perfect, warm but not sunny, and the sky perfectly clear. Little kids were running around barefoot, laughing, and somehow we ended up playing with them, singing and laughing and listening to the music like there was nowhere else in the world better to be. And I've thought long and hard about why that moment, so simple, so otherwise ordinary, felt so perfect to me. It wasn't the food, it wasn't the music, it wasn't the perfect weather. It was because I was with Ellie. And being with her makes all that's good in the world feel better to me, and all that's negative in the world seem not as bad. Time with her is never wasted. She grounds me in a way that no one else can. She reminds me that joy doesn't have to be loud and happiness doesn't have to be extravagant. It can just be two friends grateful to be near each other. My dad has always told me, Lucy, you need to find your people. And the older I get, the more I understand what he means. Your people aren't just the ones you have fun with. They're the ones who see you completely for the flawed person that we all inherently are and love you anyway, flaws and all. They're the ones who walk through life with you step by step and phase by phase, who show up without being asked, who stay as long as needed, who forgive easily, who make you feel like being exactly who you are is always enough. Ellie, you are my person. You are the definition of good people. You're the one I can laugh with until my stomach hurts, like the time we were lying on the couch and I randomly and without warning tossed a marshmallow right at you from across the room, 20 feet away, and it landed perfectly in your mouth. We screamed, we cried from laughing, and honestly, it was one of our most triumphant moments. But more importantly, you're the one I can cry with, vent to, lean on, confide in, and celebrate with. You've been my rock, my second sister, my best friend, and while I'm so excited for what's ahead, for college, for the next adventure, I'm not at all excited to be doing it without you right by my side. I'll miss everything. Our late night talks, our spontaneous decisions, screaming boom boom in the car, the way we communicate just by looking at each other. I'll miss my second home, that is your house, with your family who has loved me like I'm one of their own. I will never take for granted being loved by you and by them. Ellie and I have always talked about how lucky we are that the universe brought us together, and I truly believe it did. At the exact right time, at the exact right place, in the exact right way. So Ellie, I hope I get to be your best friend in every lifetime. Thank you for being my constant. Thank you for always giving me the kind of friendship that most people spend their lifetime looking for and some never find. I'm so proud to be the one who stands here before the class of 25 and all of their invited guests to speak on your behalf. I love you more than words can say, always.
Austin Parker Neese.
Hi, everyone. I'm Addison Neese, or as most of you may know me, Austin's older sister. You've probably seen me or my dad at Fusco or the activity building, heavily distanced and attempting to act unrelated to my mom and her overly enthusiastic cheering. But the cheers are for her favorite only son. Austin was a 3-sport athlete and played every season for all 4 years and was a playmaker in every sport. From the championship win at soccer, where he played that insane save to keep the game alive, to basketball, where he towers and probably should dunk a little bit more often, and to lacrosse, where he plays both defense and offense, being able to score with both long and short pole. Oh, and being MIAA Athlete of the Year for lacrosse, and being captain for every one of those sports. No big deal. With all these athletic accomplishments, Austin is forever finding ways to motivate and encourage his teammates. He is always one to pick up his teammates literally and figuratively after a bad play, and always looking to give the assist, never striving to score alone. He has always been a team player, and the class of 2025, you have been his team since he came to Key in 5th grade. When I watched Austin present his senior project a couple days ago, just demonstrating his love of Star Wars and Legos, and seeing that all of you know who he is and love him for it honestly made me a little jealous. Austin, as you know, has never cared much about what others think of him, which is something I wish I could emulate. And it shows so much of Austin that he brings joy everywhere he goes. So to the class of 25, thank you for letting him shine as he does, including his headband phase and the year-round habit of wearing shorts no matter the weather. Thank you, Leanne and his advisory family, for giving him a home away from home. Thank you, Paul Bain, for having him as a peer leader and letting him continue to be outdoors and help others, something I think he'll carry forward for the rest of his life. And to all of his coaches and teachers here, thank you for shaping Austin on the field and in the classroom to give him everything he needs for this next stage of his life. And to the small but mighty group of fans, parents, students, friends, and family who cheered him on and always had kind words for my parents, these are the small moments that meant the world to them. It's a reflection of what makes Key such a special place, a place where students are given the space and support to grow into exactly who they're meant to be. Speaking of that next stage, it's a bit of a bummer that we aren't going to have any overlap when you come to the academy. But I think it's probably a good thing, since I don't think their system could handle 2 nieces in the brigade at the same time. I don't know what I'm going to do without our petty fights and banter that our parents hate when you leave for naps in 45 days. But as you say, we're siblings, it's just what we do. Since we'll both be class of 2026, when you graduate from naps and I'll graduate from the academy, I figured I'd be a year early and ask you to be my first salute when I commission as an ensign. Congratulations, class of 2025. May you continue to support each other, lift each other up, and chase every dream with the same passion you showed on the field, court, and in the classroom. Austin, here's to you, my brother, my inspiration, and soon-to-be shipmate. I can't wait to see where you lead us next. Good luck, and from the audience, go Navy.
That was good.
Clive Wamai Njenga.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsea Jenga. I'm Clive's older sister. Today we celebrate the growth, achievement, and accomplishments of our graduates here at Key, and among those crossing the finish line is my brother. I've watched him grow, achieving many milestones, and he never fails to amaze me. I've always admired his perseverance, kindness, and hard work. He inspires me every day to improve myself, and he is a truly remarkable person. I feel so lucky to call him my brother. Last year, there were many months of our moms spending time outside the country due to a family emergency. And to the several Key parents who stepped in and took Clive under their wings, we thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Clayton, who gave Clive rides back and forth over the years, we thank you. And finally, Mr. and Mrs. Joe and Michelle Perry, who financially sponsored Clive during the duration of his time at Key, we thank you. This is just the beginning towards a future that will touch and change many lives. The Key curriculum has put you through the rigor and preparation for the future. Those trips that you made you realize, and it was all part of the plan to help you discover yourself. Clive, I celebrate this pivotal moment of your life, full of mixed emotions of joy for your accomplishments and gratitude for all the support we've received. And when I was away for college, you've been there for me when I just needed to rant about my day, needed critique on my projects, or I just need a hug, and I will promise to do the same. I'm always going to be there when you need to talk, or you just need me to listen, or just be there, and that's never going to change. Mom and I are so proud of you and everything that you represent. I've always said that you'll do great things and leave your mark on this world, and today is no different. I'm excited to see what you achieve in the future, and just know that I will always be rooting for you. Today, I take this time to remind you that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, and it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to. Congratulations to everyone. Be proud of yourselves and all your hard work that led you to this day, and go leave your mark on this world.
Samuel Lachlan Nucio.
Hi. Congratulations to everyone, students, families alike. I want to we have for teachers and staff here at Key. As I know you do for each of your students, you pushed Sam gently when he needed it, held him accountable, and encouraged a veracity of inquiry that spans academics and personal values. It is that nurturing of intellectual curiosity across disciplines, in a nutshell, that I want to speak to for Sam here today. Sam, I know you recognize and feel pride in you, because I stand here now as a representative of your village, your dad and me, your grandparents, near and far, and I do mean very literally, very near, and very, very far. This also is your uncles, your cousins, and our family friends. You are an amalgamation of cultures, of geographies, and of educations, and this shows beautifully in the patchwork of endless curiosity extend to everything, everywhere. That you can sit and talk with me at length about my favorite literary and human figures. I'm thinking specifically about our discussions on the raw human portrayal Toni Morrison balances with the generosity of possibility. And then walk into the next room and dive into a discussion with Dad about memory pointers or object-oriented programming, the need for specificity and clean documentation, and then drive yourself over to your grandparents' house to spend a few hours weed whacking in the wetlands, meeting Nana for an ice cream date. Coming home, chatting with Soph about the latest pop culture trends on TikTok, educating me on the Kendrick Drake beef, or the significance of multiple subcultures of basically all music, especially those with very complex rhythm. This list of your interests is too long to detail here. You don't limit yourself to just one of anything, one perspective, or one field of interest, and I think this is what is so important. You offer yourself not just to academics, but to people through generous curiosity. Ask them about what interests them, what they think and why, and you listen and consider to everything others offer you. You listen to everything. You always have. Sometimes you're swayed, and sometimes you stand firm in your core values, but you always stay open and honest and true to yourself. That you bring your honesty to everything equally, to politics, to standing up for others with a deep-seated belief in social justice, which is rivaled by your equal drive to make lots of money. We see you maturing into patterns of thought that express depth and breadth and consideration. As your village, we have the joy to observe a maturing of the qualities that you were born with. Your fervent observation, your inquisitive mind that feeds a fiercely dry sense of humor. And your sense of humor is balanced out with a silliness that somehow softens the air and holds us gently at home when emotions run high. The tenderness with which you care for your people and that you stand firm as a rock and a protector. All of these qualities will carry you, delivering you into deeper discovery as you start a coding job this summer and head to RPI in the fall. My one ask as you travel ahead is that you trust yourself as much as we trust you. It's not that the hard stuff ever gets any easier, but that the more you do that hard stuff, the more you trust yourself to keep stretching. And know that while we're cheering you forward, we're also always your softest place to land. We got you. We love you. We're so proud of you. Just keep being awesome, kiddo.
Erhan Joseph Ortiz. Meena Sarma Ramani.
My sister has been my biggest inspiration, role model, and best friend throughout my life, and I'm so grateful that I have been able to see her achieve everything she dreamed of and wanted. She has always been there for me, whether I needed advice or help on math, and no matter what, she was always there to remind me that I can always go to her. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of everything you have accomplished, and I can't wait to see where you go from here, whether it is at Colgate, studying neuroscience, or whatever you set your mind to in the future. Oftentimes, people will hear me refer to Meena as Akka. In Tamil, it's a term of respect for elder sister, which, now that I've heard it's a sign of respect, I should probably stop calling her that. But anyways, Akka was my first word, and I've never stopped calling her it. It's a sign of how important she is to me in my life. She has always been the type of person who can pull the best out of everyone around her, and whose expectations always push us to be our best selves. I love our talks, our car rides, and most of all, our closet. In all seriousness, though, I couldn't be more prouder to be standing here on my big sister's graduation, getting to tell everyone how amazing you are. Whether it is completing our engagement, which was 10 years of dancing to become professional, being an accomplished equestrian rider, or being quite fluent at French, my sister has done so much in her first 18 years, and I have a feeling that the best is still yet to come. She pushes herself to be her best, and honestly, I think she's achieved that by putting her all into everything. I want to speak from the family really quickly when I say we are so incredibly, amazingly proud of you and everything you do. I know that 2 of our grandparents couldn't be here today, but they would have been so proud of the person you've become. Your ambitions are going to take you far, and we couldn't be more impressed by your drive. Even sitting here now, at your graduation, we are cheering for you, because we know that you are going to be incredible in whatever you do from here. I'm so proud of the person you are, and I'm so proud to have a big sister like you. Thank you for always being there for me, whether it was as a sister or as my friend. You are one of the most important people in my life, and I'm so grateful to be able to be here with you to witness this amazing accomplishment. I know that sometimes we can argue, and that's how any sibling relationship is, but at the end of the day, I know that we will always have each other's backs, no matter how far away we are from each other. I love you.
Talia Lauren Rowan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kylie Brielle Sims, and I'm honored to be up here today to speak about someone who means the world to me. My best friend since 4th grade, Talia Loren Roan. Now, technically, she's older than me by 2 months, but if I'm being real, I've always been the mom of our group. And if you know us, you know exactly what I mean. Let me tell you all something you may not know about Talia. Back in 4th and 5th grade, we had code names. You know, for people we didn't want to know who we were talking about. But even more serious than that, that was our code system for Foursquare. This wasn't just some silly little playground game to us. No, Foursquare was the game. We were out there making up combos like 24877, getting people out left and right. And I'm telling you, we would have joined a league, we would have known you through it all, from your purple phase to the butterfly necklace and what it means to you, to the strong, grounded, and beautiful person you've become today. I truly believe that with your heart, your determination, and your deep sense of self, there is nothing you can't do. And no matter how far apart life takes us, no matter what headspace, the distance, or the season, I'll always be there for you, cheering you on. And let's be honest, probably still giving you my 2 cents whether you ask for it or not. When life gets tough, and it will, you have God. You have the endless love of your family. You have your friends who will move mountains for you. Thank you for always being that kind of friend to me. Off games, showing up with your vibrant smile, and supporting me every step of the way. You're going to do wonderful things, I know it, and I'm forever grateful that God, and a little help from my other family, put us together. You're my bonus sister, and I love you forever and always. And I know there are special people looking down on you today, watching you walk across the stage. They will be so proud of you. To my double trouble 06 twin, you'll always be the silver to my gold, the violin to my viola, my doubles tennis player, and the one running around the house while everyone else is already in the car. I love you, champ.
Henry William Sass.
All right. Howdy, y'all. My name is Daniel Martinez, and I'm one of the upper school art instructors here at Key. Over the past 2 years, I've had the honor of working closely with Henry Sass, and I can truly say that his artistic drive is something rare, even in my years of teaching. Henry is one of the most prolific young artists I've encountered. He doesn't limit himself to one medium. He explores them all with a contagious sense of curiosity and excitement. Whether it's painting, photography, video, sculpting, sewing, building, or engineering, Henry throws himself in completely, always with a spark in his eye and with a dozen ideas racing in his head. The signs of a true artist with a capital A. What stands out most about Henry is that his desire to create isn't new. It's something that's been with him from the very beginning. His mom shared some stories from his early years that illustrate this perfectly. From building sugar cubes as a kid, to designing pulley systems in elementary, to building his own drone in secondary, Henry was always inventing, constructing, and imagining. This past school year, Henry launched his own fashion line and created numerous original garments. Using old and found pieces of clothing, he took things apart, reassembled them into entirely new designs. He even organized a runway show during the senior art exhibit, recruiting classmates to model his work. This was our first here at Key. Henry most recently had begun teaching himself how to play the guitar, but he didn't want to just start from there. He decided for his most ambitious project yet was to build a guitar completely from scratch. Actually, he did 2 of them. Not just decorating it, but building it, and that's Henry, always pushing, always making, always exploring. There's a story that his mom, Ginny, shared with me from his Montessori school days. Henry had an idea for a boat-like structure that, according to him, needed to be lit on fire to run. He explained to his teachers repeatedly, so convincingly, that she assumed it was something he and his dad, Chris, had tested at home. After all, he was always experimenting, so she agreed to let him try it in class. He set up everything, it was entirely his plan, and he was sure it would work. But alas, it didn't. That moment says so much about who Henry is. Even when he's thinking boldly, creatively, and beyond the expected, he wasn't afraid to try. And even when something didn't work out, he learned and kept moving forward. Henry, your creative energy and fearless experimentation will take you far in the arts. You remind us all what it means to be imaginative and endlessly curious. Congrats, Henry. I can't wait to see what the kind of artist you become, and I hope SCAD will open your eyes to new artistic possibilities.
Allison Beatrice Schropp.
Allie has been my advisee for 4 years. We've shared conversations, book recommendations, jokes, explorations of identity and community, a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, and my comparative literature class. So I was surprised to find myself having a hard time writing this speech. Why, when I feel I know Allie so well, did I struggle so much to find the thing I wanted to say about them? That's when I realized I was looking at the whole thing the wrong way. In looking for the thing to say about Allie, I was trying to put them in a box. In doing this, I was missing the most important thing to say about Allie, that they're never reducible to one thing. Allie is passionate about and engaged in so many things. As far as I can tell, everything. I think it's just how Allie approaches the world. Some of you may know Allie's going to be studying electrical engineering next year at Northeastern. Many of you, I'm sure, know that Allie is passionate about theater. You've probably seen them on stage. Been a mainstay of our program for 4 years. They've performed at the Children's Theater of Annapolis and worked behind the scenes, assistant directing middle schoolers and working on lighting design. These two passions probably sound like they have nothing much in common. But for Allie, they become one thing. Diving into lighting design, which is an artistic endeavor, Allie ended up spending their senior project designing a mini theatrical rig that they can use to plan lighting for shows, and this was a significant engineering project. So this connection between things, I think, is really characteristic of Allie. This, of course, was interrupted by Allie doing actual lighting work for both CTAs, Finding Nemo, and the complete works of Shakespeare Bridge at Compass Rose, which I think also shows Allie's level of commitment to things. Allie is excited about everything, and that excitement leads them to build bridges, to make connections, and to try to find out how everything interconnects. This also explains why Allie could be seen running everywhere on campus for the last 4 years. Their sense of responsibility runs deep, whether the responsibility in question is writing an essay or leading our advisory in reviewing Met Gala outfits, which was a promise Allie made to Griffin, and which this year turned into a 3-day extravaganza that involved another advisory and extremely passionate discussion, et cetera. Allie never wants to let anyone down, including Allie. Allie, as you head to Northeastern next year, I hope you'll sustain your passion and responsibility, but maybe find a way to do it at less cost to yourself. Get some rest once in a while. Allie, I think, ideally embodies the key ethos. Our mission speaks of a commitment to the idea that children want to learn, discover, and create, and our interdisciplinary approach encourages just the kind of thinking that's led Allie toward engineering without leaving theater behind. Allie, I hope we've lived up to our commitment to nourish and guide your natural exuberance, energy, and delight, and I can't wait to hear the new connections you make at Northeastern.
Aaliyah Catherine Smith.
Aaliyah. Good afternoon. My name is Lou Van Wambeck. I was fortunate enough to be Aaliyah's 7th and 8th grade teacher and 8th grade advisor, as well as many of the students on stage here. Aaliyah, my earliest memory of you was in 7th grade for our grass water mixture microscope unit. You were so into the microscopes, we couldn't get you off the table there just looking at them. And you would spend the entire class looking for all types of living things. Eventually, you found your beloved pond water snails, and you watched them for weeks. And after much persistence on your part, and asking, and me thinking I shouldn't, I let you take them home. Sorry, home. I don't think microscopic snails ever had a better life. In my home is taped the most beautiful, pencil-illustrated, correct human heart that you did for me in 8th grade. It's been sitting there since you made it, and it's a perfect reminder for me of you, and a reminder that you both have this analytic, logical mind and a beautiful, creative mind. I am honored to speak for you. You've had such a positive impact on our community and the people around you. You are focused on learning, and you delve deeply into your passions. But before we get to upper school, I want to go back to 8th grade, where you were in my advisory, the Van Wombats, we called ourselves. This was the COVID advisory, where we spent most of the time on Zoom, and other time we spent behind plexiglass bubbles to protect ourselves, yes? It was a challenging time, but at the same time, we made some of the best memories. And you reminded me of one of my favorite, and that is when we were on Zoom during lunch, we would play Among Us as an advisory, and I was absolutely terrible at it, and you all would crush me, and you were so kind because you would encourage me. It has been wonderful watching you thrive in upper school. You have no limits, whether it is your affinity groups, track, swimming, the arts, outdoor leadership, a love for philosophy, of course, science. You have made the most of your school experience, and I'm sure you will continue to do that at Hampton University. I'm not finished. So, I did ask upper school teachers to describe you as well, and it took me on a wonderful journey of remembering you, and the words they used were just great to hear. Here's what they had to say: that you are engaged and curious and enjoy that aha moment when everything comes together. You're adaptable. You can change the way you approach a subject to best learn it. You are collaborative. You work well with your peers, and you listen carefully and express your views respectfully. You have a quiet persistence that leads to a deeper understanding and academic achievement. And one teacher wrote that your enthusiasm and determination are beyond limits, and you exert every sincere effort to present your work thoroughly and completely. There is a quote by Albert Einstein: "Imagination is everything." And for some reason, when I think of that quote, I think of you. It will take you far. Lastly, and everybody who I wrote said this, and I know this as well, you are a kind and caring soul with a wonderful presence. You bring joy to others with your smile, and now your tears. And anyone that knows you knows that smile. Aaliyah, we were fortunate to spend this time with you at Key. May you continue to flourish in every way possible, and know that we will miss you. Well done, Aaliyah.
Aiden Craig Stewart.
Hi. I was going to start off with a joke about his hair, but then he got a mullet, which is a joke itself. Poet Clara Ortega wrote, "To the outside world, we all grow old, but not to brothers and sisters. We know each other as we always were. We live outside the touch of time." My name is Alana. I was born a year and a half before Aiden, and I think I spent all that time waiting for him. I don't believe that I was a full person until I was his big sister. Today, I see my brother in his press graduation clothes, but really I just see him as a 6-year-old again, back when we were living in Africa and only had Wi-Fi to watch one YouTube video a week. So we probably should have been taking turns on who got to pick, but he let me choose almost every time, even though he must have been getting sick of Stampy Longnose Minecraft builds. I remember when he was 8 and our mom forced us into competitive bike racing as a summer sport. I still have the scars on my knees from harsh falls to prove how seriously I took it, but Aiden doesn't, because he would be winning in first place, and then he would stop right before the finish line to let everyone else pass him because he said he didn't want the other kids to feel bad for losing. But also, I watched him smile up here and remember when he was 10 and chased me around the house holding a hoverboard like a bat. He laughs the same way now as he did when he was 14 and spelled his own last name wrong when he made his own Snapchat account. Aiden Struer. Much of our childhood follows a similar pattern. Aiden and his reoccurring sweetness and the way he wielded it. My brother might not remember half of these moments because for him, they were simply unconscious acts of kindness that came to him as easily as breathing. That's the type of person he is. Helpful and caring and casually brilliant, who surrounds his loved ones with genuine warmth and gives the funniest, most unhelpful motivational quotes I've ever heard. Aiden sees the truth in people. I've told every boyfriend that the only person they actually need to impress is my brother because his judgment is always sound even when I don't want to hear it. His incredible talent in baseball and passion for the outdoors are two things I find truly impressive and unfathomable. He is the brightest light. To me, he has always embodied the sun. Every overtly kind thing I do brings me closer to Aiden, whether he's by my side as I do so or thousands of miles away. I'm sad that I couldn't convince him to join me at my college, just as I can't convince him to join me at my high school, because Aiden is perhaps the most hard-headed person I've ever met, but I suppose distance is inevitable. However, if the multiverse is real, I truly believe that Aiden would be my baby brother in every lifetime. Hopefully in some of those universes, he isn't an entire foot taller than me, but... Now, Aiden, there are a million things that I, as your big sister, could never admit to you. No, your hair is not better than mine, and Jon Snow is not the prince who was promised, but I am willing to admit this. Your perseverance and strength inspires me every day, and St. Mary's is truly lucky to have you. Aiden, I will always be on your left. However, as Loki once said, you have been burdened with glorious purpose. Of course, your future is blindingly bright. You are, as you always have been, a man who moves only forward, and to recite one of my favorite quotes of yours, one forged in the greatest of fires. Finally, I will give you, as always, advice you haven't really asked for, but hopefully will listen to. Life is but a heartbeat. You may never be ready for it all. However, you have more than enough warmth within you to fulfill it. And for all that you and I may live outside of time, please do not be afraid to let time pass. Congratulations. It would be impossible for me to be any prouder of you than I already am. I love you.
Sammy Wilson Toda.
Okay. My name is Daytona, and this is my dad, and we are for my brother Sam.
Thank you, buddy. Okay. Stay with me. Okay. During lacrosse senior day, Coach Babcock, who had only known Sam for a couple of months, succinctly described the joy with which Sam pursues life, his ever-present smile, and his love of family. Elizabeth and I beamed during Coach's speech, particularly the portion about family, and we assumed he referenced, our immediate family, including, grandparents, godparents, close friends, and close family. But that felt a little off, so we Googled family and found the following definition: the people who support and love you, the people you can confide in. Cemented a feeling we've had for several months. Key faculty, staff, and schoolmates have been an integral part of Sam's family. I'd like to share comments that 3 of them provided to me. Sam is very hardworking and committed, and he keeps a good group of people around him. He's very generous and checks in on his friends. We love Sam, and Sam loves us. A second comment.
Okay.
Not, not yet, you have to wait. Sam is my oldest friend at Key, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And then the third one from a classmate was, I love Sam with every ounce of my being. As parents, we occasionally wonder if others can see our son the way we know him. We're ecstatic.
Rainbow!
Stop it. That's enough.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Laurel and Hardy here. We're ecstatic that Sam's Key family appreciates him as we do, and we're grateful for their role in shaping the man he's become. To that end, I want to share a final quote from someone close to Sam. Sam means so incredibly much to me. I'm so proud of the person he is and all the effort he put in to get to this point. I hope everyone has a chance to get to know him and feel the happiness he brings into this world. Sam, we've thrown a lot at you beyond academics, from scouts to club water polo to your continual involvement with special needs activities. We're impressed by your diligence, your perseverance, compassion, loyalty, integrity, and the joy with which you approach life. We are proud of you, and we love you. Okay, your turn. Okay, ready? Okay, go ahead.
Sam is the best big brother and I school here. I basketball here. I walk there, go there, cookie.
Chloe Catherine Velez.
That's a tough act to follow. It's infectious energy. I love it. So I'm standing up here. I'm Chloe's mother as proxy for her friend Mikhail. However, before I get to Mikhail's words, if you'll indulge me since I have the mic, as Chloe's mother, I just want to thank Key School, not as a place, but as a collective, people who make it special. The teachers, administrators, board, students, and their families. Her father and I were house hunting in Annapolis, and after some research, I had set up an interview for Chloe to go to preschool here at Key. And could it be as amazing as it sounds? Having had a rigid Catholic education myself, first grade through law school, it was important to find a school that was, yes, rigorous, but also emphasized critical thinking, cultivated individuals, and emphasized writing. It was then that I knew Key was in fact a special place that meets students where they are, celebrates individuality, personal expression, creativity. No boxes here to fit in. There's no transactional praise. No be who we want you to be and you will be rewarded. Here, whoever you are and every version along the way, as you find yourself, is not simply tolerated, but it is celebrated. So at 2.5 years old, Chloe was taking her entrance exam with verbal questions by Renee Olson. And Renee was wonderful. She was playful, patient, but persistent. And I remember that day like yesterday. I remember the moment that made all the difference. Renee asked Chloe, "What is a dime?" And she chewed on it. We were towards the end of the test. She was getting tired. And she just goes, "I know what a diamond is." And we laughed. We all laughed. But instinctively, a part of me internally said, "Oh, it's not the correct answer. Bad mom. She doesn't know what a diamond is at 2." But instead of correcting Chloe or dismissing her, her creatively connected answer, Renee praised her effort, her connection to the root word. She didn't knock her down. She was lifted up. She was praised, right where she was. It was exactly what I'd hoped for and haven't been disappointed since. So you, Key, have ushered Chloe and all of her classmates through the toughest of years, a pandemic, and college applications, and I thank you. And Chloe, my darling, you have thrived. You have found a love for math and science, and I would never have made the bet that you'd be off across the country 15 years later to study chemistry, but isn't that the point? Who knew what you would do given the freedom to be exactly who you are? So press on, sweet girl, and dive into the mystery of life. And now switching gears, I am obviously a 17-year-old girl named Mikhail. Chloe Velez has been my best friend for about 16 years. We've been together through ups and downs and highs and lows. She's the type of person who listens without judgment, gives advice without ego. She has done more for me than I can put into words and made me laugh more times than I can count. She gets that from me. I am so incredibly proud of everything she has accomplished, and I cannot wait to cheer her on as she continues to do amazing things. When I think back on when we were younger, I remember walking just 4 houses down to her place on hot summer days, standing in front of her big yellow front door, waiting for her to open it. And her mom would make us the best Annie's mac and cheese, secret recipe. And we'd sit on the back porch for hours talking about how we couldn't wait for high school and start planning all the outfits we'd wear and the parties we thought we'd go to. But now, knowing that just in a couple of months, she'll be a 34-hour drive away honestly scares me. Even though I'm not a Key School Obazag, go A-High Panthers, I've seen firsthand just how demanding Key can be. I've listened to countless late-night rants about overwhelming assignments, endless essays, nerve-wracking exams. But through it all, not once has Chloe given less than anything she's got. She tackles every challenge head-on. No matter how tired or stressed she is, she always finds a way to push through with determination and grace. I deeply admire her work ethic, not just in school, but in everything she sets her mind to. She doesn't just aim to get things done, she aims to do them well, with purpose and pride. Watching Chloe handle so much with such resilience has inspired me more than she probably knows. She's made me want to be better, not just a better student, but a more focused, thoughtful, and driven person overall. When I see how hard Chloe works and how much she cares, it reminds me that effort matters, and showing up for yourself and your goals every day is what truly makes a difference. Chloe leads by example, and I feel lucky to learn from her just by being around her. I love you to the moon and back, Chloe, and I cannot wait to have you by my side throughout the rest of our lives.
Carmen Ray Walker.
Carmen, do you remember at the beginning of your 10th grade year when you asked me if you could call me Jeffy? I'm sorry I had to say no to that, but it was very cute. I want to actually begin by addressing Mr. Nespol and Mr. Michaels, just to say that I've been having a wonderful time as a humanities teacher here at Key. It's been enriching and ennobling and gratifying to do this work in this community. But I feel you should know that when the position for personal assistant to Carmen Walker comes open, I will be applying for that. And that could be any day now. Carmen, I'm a good communicator, highly industrious, reasonably well organized. So something to think about. If you should become a doctor, I do faint at the sight of blood. Okay. So just be aware. Okay. I actually want to talk, briefly about Civ class here at Key. Because, most of you likely know that Civ, or know about Civ, whether it's because it's very challenging, or, how all the time it is, or how it sort of looms there as this big, intimidating presence in the curriculum. And you may also know that what we talk about a lot in Civ is social justice and the history of inequality in the world, and particularly in America, and the work of moving ourselves toward a more perfect union. And that, in our case here at Civ, that means centering voices that have historically been marginalized. So for those purposes, we use primary sources, and we look directly, without flinching, at many of the grave sins humans have committed against other humans. And we approach this all openly and sensitively and as a community of learners. Well, okay, maybe we flinch a little bit. You can imagine that all this makes for some pretty serious politeness in class. Any conversation about injustice as it relates to identity is thorny and nerve-wracking even. So students in class, understandably, tend to err on the side of compassionate propriety, not wanting to ruffle any feathers. Anyone care to hazard a guess identifying a student of note who does not feel bound by this sense of propriety during Civ class?
And proud.
And proud, as you should be. Yeah, this is not my way of teasing Carmen. You might picture me facilitating a challenging discussion, and it's going pretty smoothly, and as a group we're coming to an understanding of a reading or a historical event, and then this one's hand goes up. And immediately after her hand goes up, so do my shoulders, all the way up to my ears, because, oh no, what is she gonna say? Carmen, be sure that this is not a tease. Yes, you elevated my heart rate in class many times, and that is hard for a teacher, and I definitely want sympathy from everyone here on that. But please know that this is a congratulations. Because in class and also out of class, you have investigated what I think of as the important questions of life. How can we flourish together? How can we support each other? Where have we gone wrong? What changes can help us go right? And you've investigated those questions with such unapologetic courage, such creativity of thought, such active engagement, then I can report that as many times as you have racked my nerves, you have also opened my eyes to new possibilities for how I can be best as a teacher, as a citizen, and as a person. And as you stand here, Carmen, your Key School career complete, I can inform you that you are not only courageous in your exploration of these big questions, you are also quite objectively good at it. I was so proud to be with you at Princeton Model Congress, your first Model Congress, when you conferred with me anxiously because you weren't sure what to expect and you didn't know if you'd be able to do it right or to do it well. I did know, and I was not one little bit surprised when you were awarded honorable mention out of a great many participants for your work during the conference, and I wasn't surprised when you were awarded it again at your second conference. I submit for further evidence of your skill your senior project presentation quite recently. Detailed, poised, impressive. But to my mind, as your Civ teacher, your great work was always around the seminar table here at Key, where you kept all of us on our toes, you kept us receptive, you kept us searching, and you kept us honest. And I can only say thank you for that, Carmen. So, next year, you are off to Spelman. Let me now wish a hearty good luck to the professors of Spelman, who I sure hope are ready for a bold, courageous, brilliant, and honest student of the world, because by God, that is what they are getting.
Emma Daisy Wasna-Smith.
Hi, everyone.
I never knew what it felt like to have a sister until the 11th grade. Ooh, it's coming. I like to joke, I'm a kid, but really she's my baby sister. She's only a true year younger than me and so emotionally intelligent that she doesn't seem young at all. But in my heart, she'll always be the goofy and fun-loving freshman who is just starting to get the hang of high school. I first met Emma in volleyball, where our connection was instantaneous and so familiar as if the universe knew I needed a sister all along. Our bond was forged from uncontrollable giggles and slowly losing our sanity at practice to being the shoulder to cry on when life got a little rough. Panera will always be our special spot. I can't even try and count the amount of deep conversations and drama dumps this local Panera has seen, because somehow that is, without fail, always our go-to spot. It is in this place that we both impart the most amount of sisterly wisdom. I remember my first break back from college. I only had a few days, mid-October, and I knew I needed to see my favorite kid and catch up on everything I had missed in only 2 months. Of course, like any other stretch of time, this mere 2 months had us talking for probably 6 straight hours, and I'm not even kidding. Emma filled me in on everything exciting and maybe slightly scary that came with starting junior year, and I got to tell her to slow down and also maybe think a few things through a little bit more. I ranted about the very first bit of my college experience, and as honest as ever, Emma essentially told me, cut the crap. She gave me this look of knowing, which we always do, like, girl, come on. She showed me what was right in front of my face, forcing me to confront what I was really feeling. We keep each other honest by spilling everything with no judgment, only some gentle redirection on occasion. Even now, when I randomly bumped into Emma in the mall only a few days after getting home, we collided into each other and sparked right back up like no time had passed at all. Emma is, without a doubt, the strongest person I know. Her capacity for weathering any obstacle in her path is insanely admirable, and through each new hurdle, she reinforces the pillar of resilience instilled within her. Her mental fortitude is unmatched and only rivaled by the sheer force of her heart. Emma loves like no other. She is passionate, excited, and will quite literally throw herself into your arms just to hug you a little bit closer. I have been so incredibly lucky these past 4 years to have shared in this experience with her, and I know, not just hope, that we will continue to make many more memories like these. That is the kind of friend and remarkable person Emma is. With all kids, you have to eventually let them go, lift from the nest, and see how their wings feel when they're soaring mid-air into the real world. I can confidently say, although I still feel some of that big sister anxiety, I have no doubts that Emma, as driven as she is, will adapt to any challenge thrown at her and accomplish every dream she has at present, as well as all the wonderful, lovely things that life will offer her in the future. Emma, you are so loved, and I know you are going to put your heart into everything you do, and the world will love you back with equal intensity. I have watched the sweetest little kid grow into the most powerful and prepared, beautiful young woman, and even though she's not a kid anymore, she will always be my little sister. I love you so much, Em, and I am beyond excited to see how you will continue to grow and shine your brilliant light onto the world. Never forget, it only gets better because you make everything so much better. Congratulations, my girl. I am so proud of you. And to you and your peers, you made it. Good.
So how about a round of applause for the amazing class of 2025. As I said at the beginning, we do things differently here at Key, so I think it's right that our closing remarks will come from our students, and they will close the ceremony. But before that, just a couple little footnotes. At least you didn't hit a kid. We're okay. Thank you, Brian. We hope that families afterwards, if you'd like to take a photo with family with your graduate, our photographer, Dan, will be in the back by Miss Margie over here. Please make your way over there. We're happy to take a wonderful photo for you. And if you'd like, as a parting gift as well, for every student we do, if you'd like to take a pot of the flowers home to yourself, please grab one on your way. Just take one per student, please. Don't grab many, all right? So with that, thank you for hanging with us. The speeches were really remarkable, and I'm very excited to hear from a couple members of the class of 2025 to end our ceremony, Angus Lunt Woodward and Henry Sass.
Today we gather here not to celebrate the end of something, but to honor the future. High school has taught me many things, but the most important lesson was not something on a syllabus. It was that growth is not quiet. Growth is not clean. Growth is loud, messy, and often lonely. When I walked back into Key School, I didn't come in knowing everyone like I once did. And when I came in as a completely different person, I came back asking, would I fit in again? Would anyone remember me? Would I recognize myself when it was over? And for a while, I was mostly quiet. Not because I didn't have anything to say, because I didn't know who would listen. And I was too scared to find out. But life doesn't wait for you to be ready. Change doesn't just happen. You create it. And slowly I did. Not by changing who I was, but by trusting who I am is enough. And in that risk, I found people and I found my voice. We don't talk enough about how heavy change can feel. It goes by many names: growth, transformation, moving on. But what this really means is everything shifts, times change, people scatter, and suddenly you're not who you were, and you're not sure who you will become. That's where we are now, in the space between everything we've known and everything we will be. And it's terrifying, and it's beautiful. There's a quote I hold dear: life is full of change, some big, some small. I learned a long time ago that you can fight it, or you can try to make the best of it. And that's a lot easier when you got people who you love helping you face whatever life throws at you. At least that's what helps me sleep at night. But let me say this clearly. If you feel alone, you're not. If you're scared, you're ready. And if you're uncertain, that means you're alive. We are not made to stay the same. We are made to change, not into what's expected, but who we are when no one's watching. So I won't tell you to be fearless. I'll tell you all to be brave. Be brave enough to love yourself. Be brave enough to choose happiness over approval. Be brave enough to outgrow who you were so you can step in who you are. And if you ever forget your agency, just remember this moment where you sat here fully capable and finally free to begin. The same courage it took to be here right now is the courage that it takes to be here, or to begin again. Be bold with your joy. Be ruthless with your growth. Be kind to the past version of you who got you here. And never forget, you don't know exactly who you're becoming. You don't have to know exactly who you're becoming to take the first step towards becoming. May we choose to remember what it took to arrive, what it cost to grow, and that we didn't wait to be chosen. We chose ourselves. Thank you.
All right, almost there. My name is Angus, and I have attended the Key School since the 2nd grade. I'm not quite a lifer, but after being here for 11 years, I've learned a lot about the school. One of my roles I've taken up in my community is being a school ambassador. Starting in middle school, I would host kids shadowing for the day. We would go to my classes, activities, recess, and I always loved doing this because they would often share with me their unlimited food pass at our cafeteria for lunch. In high school, starting in 9th grade, I gave tours to prospective families during my free blocks and open houses. On the majority of these tours, there was a question that almost every family asked: what makes Key special? I could tell them about our outstanding teachers who take pride in inspiring and encouraging students through hands-on learning. I could tell them about all our clubs and activities that students run that show just how broad and diverse our interests are. I could tell them about our athletics program that has a no-cut policy and how strongly it values camaraderie and skill development, yet we are always competitive. But the response I give every family is this: Key produces extraordinary people. Graduates leave with not only a broad and well-rounded foundation of knowledge, but also with a deep intellectual, social, and emotional maturity that empowers them to face life's challenges with confidence and purpose. These intellectual tools will enable us to make meaningful and lifelong connections, for the impact we make in this world won't come from what we do or what we achieve, but from how we use that thoughtful awareness to make every person feel seen, heard, and valued. In the wise words of Maya Angelou, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Thank you, and congratulations, Class 2025.
You can go see your families now, guys. Congratulations, everybody.